Stand up! New York Giant fans, I hope all you guys are as excited as Baddog and myself to see Mike Glennon take two. Can't wait to see Mike Glennon back out on the football field tomorrow. Should be an absolute blast. Baddog, what's going on, my man?
Yeah, absolutely. A high-flying circus act last week. There's so much excitement. Threw more passes out of bounds and inbounds. That's a hell of – I don't know if a quarterback's ever done that, but congratulations to Mike Glennon. That was pretty amazing, to say the least. There's no doubt. Slickback, thank you, pimp. I appreciate you. Thank you. Says, only way things really change is if we clean house. So I was already starting. Yes. Clean house.
We'll talk about plenty of that throughout the stream, for sure.
Without a doubt. There's
going to be a lot of house cleaning talk this offseason. Let's say hello to a couple people in the chat before we get started. Pimp name Slickback, of course. Who have they played? We got Nader in the chat. We got Zig in the chat. We got Giants Girl in Florida in the chat. Steven in the chat. Afghanistan in the chat. JDM in the chat. JP3 in the chat. Steven, hopefully all you guys are enjoying your Saturday night. We'll be back here live tomorrow to call the Giants game. But I'm in agreement with him. I just don't think it's going to happen. You know, I've accepted the fact that I am leaning that Joe Judge will be back. But I'm in agreement with him. I am on board right now with firing Joe Judge because I think by keeping Judge, it's going to limit your hiring candidates at the general manager position. And then I think we run into the same fiasco we had the first time around when we tried to do things on a separate timeline. But if you're asking me what I think is going to happen and what I want to happen, it's two different things. And I think they're going to keep Judge. I really do. In my heart of hearts, I think they're going to keep Judge, and I think they're going to bring in a general manager that they think could work with the guy. Whether that be somebody currently on the staff or somebody from New England. I'm not saying that's what I want. It's my prediction, though. It's what I think will. It's what I'm. Let's put it this way. I'm going to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. But if it was me, I'd want a house cleaning like him. I'd want to bring in a fresh young mind as a general manager. But we know John Mara, and don't expect the unexpected when it comes to John Mara.
Yeah, I'll get into that in a minute there. Cody, thank you for being a member for 11 months. He said 11 months, but fine for 3 years. Appreciate that. So you mean to tell me, well, Chris, I would like to agree with you, but I got to go back and look at the tape. I can't look at the tape.
I watched that video about Baddog. By the way, I could not believe that you got Joe Judge on your channel.
Oh, listen.
I've been trying since he's gotten here. You got him on your channel.
I had to pull some strings. I knew a guy who knew a guy, and I had to make sure I had water for him. That was one thing. He said he wanted water. No doubt about it. But Joe Judge was nice of him to come on the channel. Some guy goes, "This isn't a parody. This is an actual Joe Judge press conference." That was probably the most fun that I've had doing a video this entire season. Listen, man, it has been an absolutely brutal season. Brutal. There's no doubt about it. It has been tough. I have certainly been mad. I've been pissed off. I've been angry. I've been disappointed. I've been sad. It's very rare. I was happy when we beat the Eagles because I won the bet. I was thrilled. That was a highlight of my year. But obviously there's not much to. So at this point, you just got to kind of laugh to keep them crying, which is kind of why the last few videos, with the messing around, I kind of went over the deep end, the bag on my head during the post game, the Joe Judge parody. When I did the round table with Lord Brunson, Louis T, and Law Nation, I started with the bag on my head. And I can always talk trash and I can always bring it. And I'm always going to talk football. And I love working with those guys, but it was kind of difficult. It wasn't difficult, but it sucked that, the Eagles and the Redskins, the Washington team and Dallas are all fighting for a playoff spot. And there we sit at 4-8 and nothing's changed. I mean, this was a year we were supposed to be better. I was excited going into the year. We finished well last year and it looked like things were turning around and you had some high profile players and it just hasn't worked at all this year.
So I haven't done a round table because there's nothing to talk about other than the draft at this point. And what you hope, I guess, some of the younger players progressing throughout the rest of the year. But at the end of the day, we got Mike Glennon as our quarterback. We're 4-8. We're staring the Chargers and the Cowboys straight in the face. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll surprise me. Maybe Glennon will go out there tomorrow and throw 5 touchdowns, but I'm not going to bank on
it. We've scored 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. It's pretty impressive. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yuri, thank you, brother. I really appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. He says the kitchen got burned because of Judge being conservative. And the kitchen got burned because we got nobody that knows how the hell to cook on offense. That's really what's going on. It's awful. I don't think I've ever seen an offense this inept in my life. Even in the 90s when it was led by Dave Brown, Danny Cannell, Kent Graham, it probably was this bad, but it was so long ago that I don't remember it, where it just doesn't work. Like nothing we do works. And it's so frustrating. Pimp, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. He says, also, if I'm DJ, I'm protecting my health first. Sorry. Yeah, I want to talk to you about that, Chris. I didn't get to watch your video on that. I do want to go back and watch it, but I want to get your thoughts on it. Nader, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Says, we need to fire Mara. I wish we could. So I don't know if you saw my video on this about Daniel Jones and his neck. Obviously, there was conflicting reports at first. It came out, and they said, he hurt it against Tampa. And then they said he hurt it against the Eagles. Well, I don't know when he hurt it. A lot of people were telling me in my video that they think he hurt it against Dallas. And it's very possible that he did when he got concussed. But to me, Chris, and again, I'm not saying that they're playing him with a bad neck or whatever, but I look at what they've done to him in the past. You and I called the game against the Cardinals a couple of years ago, or last year, I'm sorry. He had the sprained ankle. He came back. We were getting killed. You and I were watching the game, and he limped off the field, and we said, you got to get him the hell out of there. He can't walk. He shouldn't be playing in the second half. His game's over. They brought him out. They made him play the whole game. He missed the next game. Mm-hmm. And then this year, he gets concussed against Dallas. He clears concussion protocol, and obviously that's an NFL thing. But the very next week, they have him running quarterback sneaks and running between the tackles where everybody is and where he's going to get walloped. To me, doesn't seem like they're really too concerned about the health of Daniel Jones. And I don't know if that's because they didn't select him or they know something we don't. Maybe they're deciding they are going to go a quarterback in this draft. They're like, the hell with him. It really doesn't matter because he's not going to be here. But either way, whether you like Daniel Jones or don't, I don't like the way they're treating him. I don't think it's right at all. I don't think that it's fair to Daniel Jones to, maybe possibly get him hurt. And I've heard reports that he may be done for the year. But you got Joe Judge saying, he might be back. He should not play the rest of the year. I
know you will. I really don't. I will see, but I don't think Jones is going to play the rest of the year. As far as going back in history with how they've handled Jones, when they brought him in for the Cardinals game, I was okay with it as long as the doctors signed off on it. But from within the game, that's where I had the biggest issue with Judge in that game. In the second half, you clearly saw that. I remember he was being basically carried back to the huddle, like he was limping back to the huddle. And Jones and Judge left him in. So I didn't really kill Judge for playing him in that game to start. It looked like he was pretty capable. But as the game wore along, I thought that he should have had a quicker hook on Daniel Jones in that game. And him keeping him in throughout the entirety of that game, I thought was a big mistake by Joe Judge. And it was actually one of the major things that I criticized him about last year. There wasn't a lot. That was one of them. And the musical chairs on the offensive line, I was not a big fan of in his first year with the New York Giants either, because you weren't really giving these guys much of an opportunity to grow anything together. As far as this year goes, the concussion, like we said, when it happened, I'm not going to put that on Judge. That's something that an outside doctor verifies and gives him the tells the coaches he's good to go. But like you said, after he suffered the concussion or whatever you want to call it, I know people said he technically didn't, whatever it was, how wobbly he looked in that game to run him up the middle was definitely questionable for sure. And as far as this report goes this week, I'm going to give the Giants the benefit of the doubt. I know some Giants fans will be like, you shouldn't do that. And I was the first to jump on that report when I saw it on Twitter, and maybe I should have waited a little bit longer. But regardless, the writer for the New York Post, I forgot who it was. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the guy who wrote that has been writing for the Post for like 10 years. So I had every reason to believe what the guy had to say. And that was a big mess up on his part, if in fact that it was. And I'm going to assume that it was, because in his article, he wrote, in the loss Week 11 to the Tampa Bay Bucks. Yep. So Week 12, we played the Eagles and we won. So he got the word wrong. He got the week wrong. He got the team wrong. So that was a big mess up by him. Some conspiracy theorists might say that the Giants paid him off to change the story. I'm going to lean that it was probably a mix up with the type. I'm going to take that. I'm going to go with that. I honestly believe that. But as far as what he had to say about being cautious for the rest of the year, if I'm Daniel Jones, what's the reasoning to come back this year other than, I guess, to try to prove yourself that you can be the quarterback next year? But there's no reason for him to come back this year. This team's not going to win very many games this year, and he's got a potential neck injury. I'm actually surprised that the Giants are having him practice. And yeah, I know it's like non-contact, but still, you're moving your neck around, right? I mean, if it's something that you're worried about could be a long-term injury, it doesn't seem like the best of ideas. And again, I'm not a doctor. So maybe the doctor said he's fine to practice. He just can't take hits. But to me, from a fan from the outside looking in, I don't know. Why does he have a helmet on? Why is he practicing if this is something that you're legitimately worried could be something that could be like a career debilitating injury?
Right. And also, if he has no opportunity or possibility to play, why the hell is he practicing to begin with? Shouldn't Glennon be getting all the reps and shouldn't they be the guys? If Daniel Jones ain't going to play, there's no reason for him to practice. And at this point, we're 4-8. And listen, Daniel Jones in year 3. So I'm not sitting there going, well, he needs the reps. He needs the experience. He doesn't need the experience anymore. You know, it's funny. I was going back. I've been going back and watching some of my older videos just for the hell of it, just to kind of see where I started and stuff and see how my channel, you know, how the channel's progressed, like I do with our show. And I saw one of me on taking call-ins on Skype, and my son is like not even a year old, or maybe he is a year old. I think he might have been a year older, but it's just funny to see how small he is compared to the way he is today. But when we went to the game, I saw a short of me talking about Daniel Jones. And at that point, when I did the short, Green says, let him know. But so I say, Daniel Jones is having a hell of a game, man. He's 18 out of 24. He's got 4 touchdowns. And I say right in the video, I said, if we ever get this kid a head coach and an offensive line, he could be dangerous in the NFL. It's 2 things that we have not gotten Daniel Jones. We have not gotten him a real coach, and we have not gotten him an offensive line. So maybe the jury is still out on that little 30-second clip that I had. And if you watch my video, you could tell I drank quite a bit there because I was a little woozy myself, Chris. Yeah, it was great. Lou, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat, my man. He says, Glennon head and neck look like the Super Bowl trophy. Yeah, I think a license plate guy put that on.
I saw that.
I
saw that on Twitter. That was pretty funny. I was laughing when I saw that.
That is pretty good. That's pretty good. Christopher, thank you, brother. Appreciate you, my man. He says, why would a new GM want to stick with Jones and how bad he's played the last 2 years? He might not.
I'll tell you right now, Christopher, if I was an outside GM, I wouldn't want to stick with Jones. To be completely honest with you, I have no attachment to the guys. Not thinking from a fan as far as the New York Giants goes. I didn't draft the guy. I look at guys in the draft that I think are at least equal to him, and that would be my quarterback. I honestly do not want to draft a quarterback, though. If you're asking me what I think the Giants will do, let me see who the GM is going to be first before I come to that decision of what I think they will do. But I'm definitely not ruling out the possibility of them drafting a quarterback, because whenever you bring in a new GM, you're talking about a quarterback now that's played 3 years with the team. He's missed almost a season's worth of games. That's at least a possibility. No matter how much you may love Daniel Jones, it has to at least be a possibility.
Yeah. Thank you, Jake. He says, cute shirt, Baddog. Well, listen, my kid today, little Baddog, had a modeling pageant. So he went to pass. So I had to look halfway decent. I had to shave. I put on a decent shirt. I just never changed it because I was lazy. So he did a little modeling today. That's my wife did that to him. So he walked a runway and he modeled. He had a nice suit on. And I said, look at my little man. Yeah, little man. Yeah, pretty good. He did pretty good too. I was proud of him. I was proud, but I didn't feel like changing that. So it was a long day. So I was like, I got home. I said, the hell with it. It's all right. But that's why I'm wearing the shirt. Soggy Nachos, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. He says, what up, Baddog and Tainah? What up, Soggy Nachos? Personally, I like my nachos crispy, but
yeah, I'm not a big soggy nachos guy. That's kind of weird.
It's like,
who the hell would eat soggy nachos? That's disgusting.
It's his brother's flat beer.
I'm picturing like cardboard almost for nachos.
Yeah, I don't know. Ugh. I think that's what you're talking about was served at the Giants game.
Oh, is that where
maybe that is where he got that from.
Yeah.
Remember that? That was very funny.
Yeah.
Risen and Jizza, Ghostface Killer, ODB. Thank you, brother. Heard Judge is safe. 4-13, change Mara's mind.
Who knows? I mean, here's what I'm going to say, Rizza. Personally, I think he should already have his mind up one way or the other. Should Mike Glennon starting these games really change his opinion on whether or not Joe Judge? Because how could you expect him to win these games? Mike Glennon's the starting quarterback right now, right? I mean, they're missing so many pieces on defense. They're playing the Chargers in LA. They're playing, then they're playing Dallas. I don't think they're going to win that. Washington's starting to play a lot better. The Eagles are playing better, and we don't have Jones. And obviously, as much as some people may hate Jones, Glennon's certainly not as good. Maybe you could judge him based on the way that he coaches the game and the game plans and his timeout usage, but in terms of the wins and losses, I think his mind should already be made up one way or the other. I don't think with Glennon out there, losses should really impact whether or not he brings him back.
Yeah. If he's already decided he's coming back, I don't think the last 5 games change his mind.
If Jones was out there, maybe. But with Glennon, I mean, I don't know.
That's what sucks. A built-in excuse.
Yeah.
He's like last year. I hate it. LA Lou, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat, brother. Much appreciated. He says the Giants team is starting QB yet. I say from. Yeah, Glennon's starting.
Glennon's a starter.
Glennon is starting tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's like a huge thing now with Giants fans. It's all over Twitter. Everybody's crying to see Fromm, and I get it. You already know that Glennon's a mediocre backup, and you're like, at least let me see the unknown. But like you and I have said, I think once people got to see that unknown, they'd be like, maybe Glennon's not so bad after all.
Right.
There's a reason that Jake Fromm was the fourth string quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. And you think about a quarterback that has no mobility, a quarterback that has a limited arm, and you put him behind an offensive line like ours and a team that can't run the football with a limited exposure to the playbook. I mean, you're just asking for the guy to get destroyed.
Yeah, he has no mobility at all.
No mobility. And I understand fans that want to see something different, but he ain't it. And maybe he could be a backup, but he ain't it.
I can tell you this. You're not going to see anything different if Fromm is the quarterback. The offense is still going to struggle. It's still going to be conservative. It's not going to matter. He's not going to put up 35 points. He didn't do that at Georgia. He had no chance in the NFL for a reason, and he's not very good. I don't have confidence in Glennon. I don't have any confidence in Fromm. If Fromm was better than Glennon, they would start Fromm regardless. If they felt like Fromm was a better opportunity to win the game, he would start regardless. Then that's the problem. Like, we got sold over there. That's how bad Matt Parrott is, and that's how bad Jake Fromm is, that they're going to start Glennon over with nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Nader, thank you, brother. He says, really appreciate that. Get the Colts candidate for GM.
Yeah, I made a video on that today. He's talking about Dodds. I like him a lot, man. I don't know if he'd want to take the job. He said in the past that he doesn't even know if he'd want to be a GM. And to me, it sounds like Dodds, because I think he probably does inevitably want to be a GM. He's thought to be like the best scout in the NFL, but I don't think the Giants job would be the job that he'd be running for. So I'm not going to bank on that, but I wanted to talk about him because I do think he's a really good candidate.
I see people saying, like, how do you know that? Are you talking about Fromm? How do I know that? Because I watch him play in college. I watch a lot of college football. And when a guy struggles to throw the ball in college, he's going to struggle to throw the ball in the NFL. That's just how it goes. There's guys that are great in college that are no good in the NFL. There's a reason Fromm went in the 5th round, and there's a reason Fromm wasn't even a backup or a third string quarterback somewhere else. So
I'm laughing because this is I don't know if you're aware of the Wes Steinberg account on Twitter.
No,
it's like a guy that he's like a troll account on Twitter that lets out like really funny rumors, and then like sometimes he'll trick like verified people into retweeting it, and they fall for it. This is a play on that, Wes the Carpenter, because the Carpenter was the guy that leaked the information. What did the Carpenter say again? Oh, that Daniel Jones was going to be out for the year before it came out. So I'm just like that. It's Wes Steinberg on Twitter.
Gotcha. Well, Wesley, thank you for the super chat, brother. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. He says, big news coming. Judge needs 6 wins to save his job.
There you go. Wes just broke the story, guys.
There it is. There it is.
Here's Wesley Steinberg again.
There it is. Well, Brandon, thank you for being Brandon, thank you for being a member for 7 months. Appreciate it. Says, love you guys. Y'all make the season bearable.
Appreciate that, man.
We feel the same way about you guys and girls.
Thank you so much for being here, buddy. Appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Yeah, exactly. You guys and girls make it bearable for us. Justin, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat, my man. He says, if Bredesen struggles, do we see Wilson?
To my knowledge, I don't think Isaiah Wilson's on this team yet. I don't think he's on the 53-man roster. I think he is either. Maybe I'm wrong on that, Dustin, but I don't think I am. I think he's still in the practice squad.
I think I read somewhere that Joe Judge said he was more of a future guy, that he'd probably get time next year. And I don't think that we would see him this season. But
maybe somebody in the chat could let me know, because if he is, I'm not aware. I think he's still in the practice squad. But maybe down the line before the end of the year, we get an opportunity to see him. They said that they were trying him out at the guard spot. But obviously, if he's not on the 53-man roster, you're not going to see him this week.
Right. Yeah, exactly. J-Man J, thank you for the super chat, brother. I appreciate you. He says, hire Ed Dobbs for GM and hire Byron Leftwich. That has been a popular name, Byron Leftwich as head coach. Draft 2 linemen. I would love to do that. With those first 2 picks, keep Jones, but look for a vet QB option as a stopgap.
Yeah, it's like a backup that could compete with him. Yeah, I that's what I would do, Jay. As far as Leftwich goes, the one thing I'll say about Leftwich, like I talk about like tough quarterbacks. Go back and I'm sure you're well aware of it when he was at Marshall. The guy
Yeah.
broke his leg and
Yeah.
he finished the drive. I remember his offensive lineman carried him to the huddle. And Leftwich, of course, is the play caller for the Bucs. And unlike the enemy, who's like a popular name that you hear people throw out, he actually calls the plays. So that impresses me a little bit more, being that he actually calls the plays with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know much about him outside of that. I haven't done a ton of research on him. We'll see if they, in fact, move on from Judge. If they do, maybe he is a guy that you bring in. He's a young offensive mind, former quarterback. Maybe they do bring him in. Who knows? But before I even start to think about it, I got to see if they move on from Judge.
Yeah. Well, I think we talked about this last week. Sean Payton becomes available. Do you say screw Joe Judge or bringing in Sean Payton?
In a second.
What about, here's a hypothetical too, and I don't know if this would happen. Michigan wins a national title. Harbaugh possibility. Would Harbaugh come back to the NFL after winning a title? He finally achieves it. He finally beat Ohio State. He goes on, wins a national championship with Michigan. Does he say, all right, I'm going to go out on top and I'm going to go to the NFL? Is that a possibility?
Well, as we've talked about Baddog off the show before, we both know for a fact that Harbaugh had interest in the job at one point.
Right.
When they were thinking about bringing in Joe Judge. And he never, they never got to the point because they fell in love with Joe Judge. So whether or not he'd have interest now, I don't know. But he's definitely a guy I'd be interested in. And you could go back and watch my videos leading up into the coaching search long before I knew the candidates. He was the first guy I talked about. He came into San Francisco in 2013 and completely turned that team around, or 2012 rather, when he brought him to the NFC title game his first year there with Alex Smith, the quarterback. They went 13-3. Brought him to the Super Bowl the next year with Colin Kaepernick. He is a genius, as far as I'm concerned, at the NFL level. What he was able to do with that 49er team and turn that program around, the knock on him was he was unable to work with the front office. Now, I think if you bring in Harbaugh, the Giants have to think outside the box, because I don't think Harbaugh would take the job unless he had, if not complete control, strong say in the personnel department in terms of the GM. I don't know if you would need that GM job, but he would definitely need, I think, a lot of say in what they were going to do. Yeah,
I agree. But that's, again, we have to hope that John Mara light goes on in his head and he says, all right, let me just back away. Hire the GM. I'm going to let the GM do everything that he wants. I'm just going to sign the checks. That's really what the owner is supposed to do. Stay the hell out of it. You take care of the business aspect. Let the football people do the football things, know? Tutto, grazie. Thank you so much. He says, salute paisani. I dropped by your office to pay our proper respects. And for all the Giants Nation, we paintbrush this slimy, this slimy, stinky Eagle fan losers out of the door. I'm so glad I ain't got to wear that Eagles jersey. I can't wait for that game just to see Philly 500 wearing that Giants stuff. That is,
What's up, Tudo?
At least I got that this year. Garrett, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat, brother. He says, who do you expect to go open cap space next year? Who do you expect to go to open? Solder, definitely. Probably Bradbury, I'm guessing. Maybe Sterling Shepard. And Riley Dixon's got to get the hell out of here. That's $3.25 million for a punter, and he's terrible. I without a doubt, Solder and Bradbury are gone. Or not Bradbury, I'm sorry. Solder and Dixon are gone. I would move on from Bradbury.
I was talking about this the other day on my live stream, and Dixon to me is the first obvious one. Bradbury is certainly a possibility. Blake Martinez is certainly a possibility. He would save you $9 million. He's coming off an injury. And then after that, it gets a little bit dicey. I mean, Shepard, it would save you about, I'm looking at it now, I think it would save you $4.5 million. So you could potentially cut him. Bradbury, what would you say?
Blake Martinez.
Blake Martinez saves you about $9 million. Kyle Rudolph is an obvious one for me. That saves you $5 million. And then you also got
Ingram's off the books.
Ingram's off the books. Pepper's off the books. Hernandez off the books. Devontae Booker saves you $2 million. I think you probably cut him. There's some cuts that they can make to free up salary, but you got to remember a lot of that money is going to go towards next year's draft class, and they've got 10 picks, 2 first-round picks, so a lot of money goes to those guys. So we're not going to have a lot of money to spend in free agency. I mean, you let's say we get, and if we don't trade down, maybe we will, but say we get 2 top 6 picks, those guys are going to be making at least $4, $5, $6 million right out of the gate. So that's about $12 million towards your cap next year on rookie salaries just between those 2 players. Then you got a second round pick, 2/3, and whatever else. So they're not going to have much money in free agency. That's for damn sure.
No, without a doubt. Fat American, thank you, brother. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much for that. He says, yo, what's up, Baddog? I hate the Giants, man, but I hate all you guys, but I'll admit I loved how physical the Giants were in the Brandon Jacobs era. Insane. Yeah, I mean, that's how we used to win football games. That's always been the Giants' way. Physical up front on both sides of the ball, good pass rush, defense, pound the ball down your throat, make the plays with the quarterback when they had to be made. We got away from it somehow, some way, because we don't win in the trenches anymore. And that's the big problem. You know, no more winning in the trenches for us.
Did he say he hates all of us? Says
he says I hate all of you guys, meaning the Giants.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, listen, man, I love Brandon Jacobs, man. He's one of my all-time favorite New York Giants. I think he's most Giants fans, up there for some of the, all-time favorite Giants.
Yeah. Oh God, yes. Without a doubt. Tutto, grazie, paisano, grazie. I made a comment on Chris's channel 3 years ago about 4x4 moron fat Getty. He didn't like it because he was Getty's biggest fan.
3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. 3 years ago, we both supported. Yeah, 3 years ago, we both supported Gettleman.
Hell yeah. 3 years ago, I weighed 235 pounds. Not anymore.
Things change in 3 years.
Things do change a lot. My kid is no longer in diapers, can talk back to dad, can dress himself. Yeah, things do change in 3 years. Plus, I mean, it was his first year. Yeah, I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt.
He lost me this year. This is where he officially lost me when he didn't.
I think he lost me last year.
He was definitely starting to lose me last year.
But I didn't care if they kept him or fired him last year.
Yeah, it was the same. But I knew they weren't gonna because it was Judge's first year. Yeah. And then this offseason when he didn't dress the line, it was like, no, he's got to go. If this line doesn't work, he's got to go. And it didn't work.
Yeah, and you and I talked about this a lot this year. Going into the year was, hey, this is a make or break season for all these guys because they had all these players, they had draft picks, and this was another year under this system, and never happened. Buck Josh, thank you, man. I really appreciate the super chat. Thank you, brother. He says this team's so disappointing. I'm ready for the draft. Get these Hogs this year and screw Glenn. Yeah, we need Hogs, man.
What's up, Buck, man? Glad to see you, man.
Then they get a bunch of what do they eat? What do pigs eat? What is that called?
Like slop, don't they? Don't they eat like
slop? But there's something. I forgot what the hell it's called.
Pigs will eat anything.
I don't know. Let's go. It turned into Reds a little Washington for a little bit. They were the Hogs.
Yeah,
they had a good offensive line. I
don't care what we're going to call him. We got to do what Gettleman said he was going to do, and let's fix the line right away.
He lied.
Yeah.
Lied. Just like Joe Judge. We're going to give you a team you can proud of. We're going to punch you in the nose for 60 minutes. You're full of it. 60 minutes. Up, timeout. Right? Timeout. I got to go look at the tape. I wonder if he says that to the official when he calls it timeout. I got to go look at the tape real quick. Maybe he wants to go look at the tape, and that's why he takes the timeouts. I don't know what Joe Judge's problem is, man. We have to. Joe Judge needs to come on the show. We can ask him. Imagine that one.
Get him on your channel, get him on the show.
Yeah, maybe I'll see what I can do. Dashy, thank you, brother. Really appreciate it. What do I think of Bryce Young winning the Heisman? I think that was a foregone conclusion. I don't think, especially with the game he had against Georgia, that cinched it. Maybe if he had an off game against Georgia, maybe somebody else would have won it. But that game again, that clinched it. You win an SEC championship with a performance like that against the best defense ever in college football. They were giving up 6 or 7 points a game. I think that was a foregone conclusion.
There was no way he was not winning the Heisman. Aiden Hutchinson was like, I saw the final vote total. He was not even close.
Yeah.
He was second, and he was so far behind. Bryce Young's a beast. Bryce Young's going to be the number one pick in the 2023 draft. He's everything you want in a quarterback. He's mobility. He's got a ridiculous arm. I guess a little bit undersized, but not by today's standards. So he's gonna be a beast at the NFL level.
Maybe he'll be ours in 2023. Who knows?
Never know.
Brandon, thank you, brother. Really appreciate the super chat. He says, if I was the owner, I'd hire a former player personnel like Tim Tebow to be like a chaplain for the team. I tied my GMs to my head coach's career in New York with their draft the rookie quarterback's contract. I mean, listen, I don't like the way they played the musical chairs. I think that if they get rid of a GM, I think the GM needs to have carte blanche and do whatever he wants. If he wants to keep Judge, fine. If he doesn't want to keep Judge, fine. But if he keeps Joe Judge should have the right to choose his own coaching staff. He should not be forced an offensive coordinator like he was Jason Garrett. Like that should not happen. He should make the decision. If you trust Joe Judge enough to be your head coach, you have to trust Joe Judge enough to pick his own coordinators and his own coaches. He fired Colombo because he didn't get along with Colombo. Maybe that's a problem. Maybe they don't get along.
Of course, that's a problem. Whether or not Joe Judge is a good coach or not, it's a problem that John Mara's sticking. No.
I mean, maybe the problem is like they don't get along. Obviously, Mara. I meant like, but yes, that you're right. I mean, obviously, Mara. But I'm talking about maybe they don't get along. You said he wanted to fire Garrett in the middle last year.
Yeah, Judge came out and said, well, he didn't come out and say it, but a report came out and said that he wanted to fire him midseason last year. He's not going to come out and publicly say that, but and if there's any legitimacy to that report, it just goes to show you how much pull that John Mara has. I mean, we all know that Garrett was a Mara guy, it wasn't a Judge guy, and
right.
He's got to keep his hand out of the business, regardless of who the GM is going to be, regardless of who the next coach is going to be if they move on from Judge. I still think we're keeping Judge, but regardless, he's got to have a hands-off approach as an owner. That's our biggest problem.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Fat American, thank you, brother. Appreciate the super chat, my good man. He says, every time I think of a team with a dominant running game and a dominant D-line, I think of the Giants teams that Brandon Jacobs, unstoppable, man. It was a long time ago, but those teams were beautiful. That was Giants football. And, that was
Brandon Jacobs.
That was also the same in 1986. I mean, Joe Morris wasn't really a bulldozer type of back, but he had 1,500 yards a year. And then in 1990 was O.J. Anderson, and he was a bulldozer. But that was always the Giants' formula to success. I
think of the line, to be honest with you. Yeah. I think of the line. And I know Jacobs was the guy that was carrying the ball, but Derek Ward came in, averaged 5.5 yards a carry. Ahmad Bradshaw was a beat. I think of the line, man. The line is what created that run game for the Giants.
It was insane. L.I. Yankee King, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. By the way, how about NYY News? How about that? Were you in there today? I thought I saw you. And I was just kind of watching. I was busy.
NYY News? No,
Pete, the guy that was. I was talking to L.I. Yankee King because he's on.
Oh, they're talking me. No.
They got a bunch of guys, and they got Gary Sheffield Jr. to join their channel and stuff. I don't know how they get. Like, I don't know how they do all this. Whoever their graphics guy is, their intro guy, man, that's next level production. Really good. And Pete's a good dude. I like working with Pete. LA Yankee says, I'm sorry. Giants need to blow it up and rebuild. You don't need to be sorry about that. You're right. He says, trade everyone not drafted in 2021 and trade back both picks to get more draft picks. We might trade one of them back.
Yeah, I can't answer that until I see the circumstance where we're picking and what players get to where we're picking, because it's easy to say you need to. I never like to go into a draft saying to myself, they need to trade back. If we could go back in time this year, Baddog, you probably just take Rashawn Slater or you take Micah Parsons with our pick. You probably say, don't trade back. And maybe the trade back will work. It could work. It could work great if we hit on the pick that we have. But I think it depends on what player's there. Like if you have Aiden Hutchinson ranked really high on your board and he drops to 5, you're probably not going to trade back. So I think it depends on who's on the board. But I definitely think the Giants should be open to trading back if the right opportunity presents itself. That's for damn sure.
I agree. Pimp, thank you, brother. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much for my man. He says, Giants way needs to die, bring in a new era. I don't think you mean Giants. The Mara way needs to die. That needs to die.
We need to think outside the box. I agree with it. I just don't think we're going to.
I know. And it hurts to even think that. Nader, thank you, my man. Williams and Robinson rookies, Bradbury out. You mean like next year?
Yeah, I'm assuming he means next year. I mean, Rodgers Williams stinks. I have no faith in him in terms of being a starting corner. He's talking about the 6th-round pick. He was banged up this year. And to me, Robinson's more of a slot guy. And he's really – I've been very impressed with Robinson.
Yes.
George Jackson will obviously be starting. Maybe you draft Bradbury's replacement, though. Who knows? I'm going to lean that Bradbury will probably be back, but maybe they try to restructure the contract and extend him so it doesn't hit as much this year. And they, who knows? So we'll see if they try to get creative with his salary next year. But I don't see Rodgers Williams being a starter.
No, definitely not. Fat American, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thanks so much. He says, I forgot to mention I'm from Louis T's channel. I'm a Washington fan. Hope that gives more context to my first super chat. Anyways, Dallas week, let's go. Fat American, I am pulling hard for you guys to. And listen, I've said this before. I don't like Washington. Don't get it twisted. Do not like them. But I do not hate Washington like I do the other two teams in this division. I've made that perfectly clear. I've always respected. And then you talk about the good run game. That was Washington when I was growing up. The Hogs up front, the John Riggins, and then the Dexter, and then on defense, the Dexter Manleys and the Charles Manns. And, you had Timmy Smith back there. And I remember all those guys. I mean, 91, who was it? I think you had Ricky Irvins was one of your running backs. But those big guys up front on both sides of the ball, Washington and the Giants are very similar when I was growing up.
And Dallas, when they won their
Dallas,
Super Bowl.
right. Yeah, when Dallas was in the Super Bowl, right.
Yeah, probably the greatest offensive line of all time, those mid-90s Dallas teams. But yeah, man, I think we're both pulling. I think most Giant fans are pulling hard for you, Fat America.
Absolutely.
We obviously don't like Washington, but we like you a lot more than we do the other two, or at least the majority.
And I will say this, Louis T is the man. I freaking love doing that. I love doing that round table. That is so much fun, man. That is a lot of fun. Louis T, man, God bless him. The man just had twins the day before. And I DM him on Instagram. I'm like, Louis, if we got to push this back, man, it's no worries. He goes, nah, the show must go on. He says, I got okay. He goes, I got it okay for the missus. She said, it's okay, but we might be on a shot clock. We were there for almost 3.5, 4 hours.
Jeez, wow.
Going, forget about it, man. It's just so much fun. You lose track of time. Kurt, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you. He says, love your channel, even though I'm an Eagles fans. See, that's what I love. We got Washington fans, and you got Eagle fans, you got Cowboy fans. I said this in the live stream, in the roundtable, man. We hate each other's team, but there's massive respect on the NFC East. And when people start picking on the NFC East, we will defend our division tooth and nail because it's the best division in the history of football. And I would say Eagle fans and Giants fans are extremely similar, which is why we butt heads.
We don't like one another.
But he says, thoughts in the NFC and AFC playoff picture? I
just pulled up the standings now. The AFC to me is wide open. I don't believe in Tennessee, especially with Henry out. Baltimore does not look like themselves to me. I'm still going to give the Chiefs their respect. To me, they're probably still the favorites. They look like they're starting to get it into gear, but do not sleep. And I know they got a rookie quarterback with Mac Jones, but do not sleep on the New England Patriots. If I had to pick
Mac Jones, he threw 3 times. They beat Buffalo.
3 times and they beat Buffalo. I mean, they got an incredible run game. They got a great offensive line. They got a great defense. And maybe they could put it together similar like the Steelers did in Ben Roethlisberger's second year, where Ben basically relied on everything. People forget Ben was not good his second year in the NFL, but he had an incredible team around him. And Bill Belichick is as smart as they come, and come playoff time in the elements, I'm not ruling out the New England Patriots. As a matter of fact, I am tempted to pick them, but I'll probably still lean that the Chiefs are the favorite in the AFC. As far as the NFC goes, I think it's going to be the same 2 teams as last year in the NFC title game. The Cardinals, obviously, right now are the number 1 seed. We'll see if they could hold that playing in the West. I don't know their remaining schedule, but inexperience there with the coach and the quarterback. But if they're at home on the West Coast, obviously that plays a factor. I'm going to go with either the Packers or the Bucs, though. I think in the end they're going to meet back up in the NFC title game, and that's my prediction. I think it'll be the same NFC championship game as last year.
I'm picking Kyler Murray. I'm going
with
my guy, man. I just think Arizona's improved so much.
They're great. I mean, even with
Cliff Kingsbury's a very good coach. Kyler Murray's an MVP candidate. I mean, they were able to beat teams with freaking Colt McCoy in there, and he was throwing the ball. I mean, Colt McCoy threw for over 300 yards. That is a good team in Arizona. And yeah, maybe sometimes the inexperience gets you. But again, I'm not high on the coaching staff on Green Bay. I don't think they can outcoach Kings. I think coaching plays such a massive part of what you do. Where Bruce Arians is a good coach, and you have a head coach, a quarterback. That's why Tampa Bay may have the edge there, and it's hard to go against Tampa Bay. But I think maybe it'll be Tampa Bay and Arizona in the NFC Championship game. And in the AFC, yeah, I mean, the Patriots are winning with defense. Patriots are winning the way they have always won, and Bill Belichick is the greatest head coach to ever do it. So,
you know who they remind me of? I was thinking about this today, actually, who this Patriots team reminds me of. Only the difference is you have Belichick at the head coach instead of Rex Ryan. But they remind me of those Jets teams when they had Mark Sanchez. Those Jets teams had a very, a guy that you didn't ask him to do much at the quarterback spot.
Well, he sucked, though. Mac Jones don't suck.
Mac Jones, yeah, he's okay. But
he's good.
He's for a rookie, he's definitely good. But they have the same identity. They run the ball at will, similar to that Jets team, and they had a really good defense. So, and that Jets team went to the AFC title game, and now you got Bill Belichick, who's obviously a major step up from Rex Ryan. But I think they're built similarly to the way that Jets team was built.
Could be the year. Could be the year. Brady versus Belichick in the Super Bowl.
That would be the greatest storyline in
it would be, and everybody would be talking about how the NFL's fixed. I already can see that.
For sure, man, for sure.
Zig, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Trade down one pick, still go O-line with both. We'll see. But the Giants have a lot of options, to move one of those picks. If somebody overwhelms them with a package, maybe you have to. I would really love to shore up this offensive line in this draft. It has been neglected for too long. I would like to see them take early picks and not Thomas obviously picked him fourth. He's good when he's healthy. And then you take one in the third and then in the fifth. I would rather just take two massive gentlemen to get on that front line to go with Andrew Thomas and build from there.
I'm all about the massive.
I know, man. I am too now. I mean, I am definitely a defensive guy. Yeah. But I want some hugs.
I want 4 new massive gentlemen. I want to fix this line once and for all.
Yeah, so go all the way.
If they again, I'm not gonna be crying if they don't take 2 massive gentlemen in the first round. But if they do, you're gonna see a smile ear to ear, and I will be flipping out if they don't take at least 1.
Yeah. Jay, I guess that's Kite. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate the super chat. Thanks so much. Dave Gettleman is a Bostonian. He's also a Cape Cod potato chip. He needs to be the GM of the Cape Cod Potato Chip Company and create a new chip called Gettleman Chips due to messing up Big Blue. So listen, Gettleman is from Boston. Joe Judge is an Eagles fan. How the hell are we supposed to win with that?
That's a problem.
Maybe
that's what it is.
I know it is. Get them vibes out of here. Get you a Carl Banks in here to do something. And that could be what it is. But maybe
that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is.
I also think Dave Gettleman maybe eats too many. He is a potato.
I saw, and I think I saw Taco say this in the chat, and I saw it on Twitter. Paul Dottino went on WFAN today, and he defended Dave Gettleman. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he basically said he thinks Gettleman should be back. And there is no way Gettleman is coming back. There's no way you could. I don't understand how he could have that mindset based off the fact that this team has 4 wins. There's very little improvement on the offensive line. But I was thinking as I was listening to it, why would Dave want to come back? Dave is like 71, 72 years old. He's a cancer survivor. The fan base rightfully can't stand the guy at this point. Just retire. Like, why would he want to come back?
Go on.
Enjoy your retirement, Dave. Get out of here.
Yeah, go do something with yourself. Go fishing. Go work for the Cape Cod Potato Chip Company. I will admit, Cape Cod potato chips are pretty damn good.
I don't think
my wife likes the salt and vinegar ones. I like the barbecue ones myself. Cito, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Would you tank for Bryce Young next year? No, I'm not tanking. I want to win next year.
There's no, Cito, I love when fans say, would you tank? No. There's no way a team is going to openly tank before the year starts in the NFL. It's not going to happen.
We might just have to play good old-fashioned Giants football and we get that pick, but I don't want to tank.
And even when you think a team is tanking or trying to tank it, remember the whole tank for Tua thing? People thought Miami was going to win 0 games. They ended up getting Tua anyway because he got hurt. But, everybody thought they were going to win 0 games because they completely broke up the team. They won 5. There's no way you could go into a season being like, we're going to tank. This team should go in with the mindset of tanking. It's not going to happen. Right. Coaches' jobs are on the line. GM's jobs are on the line. It's a results-driven business. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and players want to get paid, and they want to play. I mean, they have pride. Well, you would think they have pride. Sometimes the way we play, I wonder. But they're not going to go into a season openly tanking. Now, if we are, again, 4-8 or 4-9, then maybe you do. Then, okay, yeah, let's try. But I don't want to think about 2023 draft yet. But I have joked around saying Caleb Williams 2024 for the – I mean, whatever. We'll see. Just fix the offensive line. Let's fix.
Let's work. Let's get that situated.
Yeah, let's go.
Then we'll worry about building the rest of this.
I agree. Brandon, thank you, brother. I really appreciate the super chat, my brother. Thank you so much. Chapman's like a religious and moral support for military personnel, so Tebow would be there as a mentor figure, helping keep the players on the right track. I mean, any positive vibes, anything that would help these players, perhaps. I don't know what Tebow's doing these days. But I don't know what Tebow is doing these days.
I don't know. I think doesn't he do like the
college game, college something? Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know, man.
Giants need some good vibes. Maybe do bring Tebow in. We all know we need Jesus in here.
Whatever. I don't want Tebow making any decisions for the football team. I'll say that. I thought Tebow, in terms of you look at Taysom Hill, that should have been Tim Tebow. But Tim Tebow was so stubborn that he thought he could play quarterback at the NFL level, and he wasn't able to adjust his game. Yep. All the praying in the world couldn't get him to be able to throw the football the right way.
I pray every day. It ain't getting my hair back, Chris.
Yeah, so I don't want Tim Tebow anywhere near this team in terms of making decisions. Now, if you want to say you want to be the team's pastor, okay. But I don't want to make any decisions for this football team.
Damien, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. He says, I'm sorry, I'm done with Judge. Not a DJ guy, but if the rumors are true that they knew back in 2000, I don't think he meant 2011. I think he meant week 11 about his injury. I'm going to be ticked. Damien, let me tell you something right there. I went back and looked at the tape, and he was not hurt in week 11. Okay, sir. So, we did our due diligence on that one. We all looked at the tape. We all checked his neck out personally. I looked at the vertebrae. He was fine. I know I'm not a doctor. I fired our doctor, Dr. Garrett, because he was a poor doctor, and maybe he's the reason. We just have to blame everything on Jason Garrett at this point. I don't want to take the blame for anything. I will throw anybody under the bus to slow it down from running me the hell over, but it's coming, and I know it's coming, but that's okay. So I just want to tell you, Damien, look at the tape. I looked at the tape. Don't question me, okay? Thank you, sir. Next question.
There you go.
Damien, I'm with you. I'm ready to move on from Judge. He's a con man. Condus.
Yeah, I am going to give him the benefit of the doubt on this, though. I think he's full of shit in some of the things that he says. I
don't think he would put him out there. But
I honestly think it was a typo by the guy that wrote the story on the New York Post. I know his fans were looking for any reason to get rid of Joe Judge, and people, people are looking to pile it on. I am not going to pile this on him. I'm not. Now, are there things that he says where I'm like, yeah, he's full? Yeah, the thing he said about Nate Solder was clearly lying.
Yeah,
when he said Nate Solder's progressing and he's playing well, and that really makes you think and wonder, since he's been here, all the encouraging things he said about Daniel Jones, did he mean him? And especially with the way that he operates the offense with Daniel Jones, he's very conservative. So makes you think that he doesn't really.
He's either lying about Solder or he knows nothing about football.
He's lying about Solder.
It ain't good either way.
Yeah.
Billy, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Chris, what jersey you got on tonight? The Hog, Andrew Thomas. There you go, baby. Wear that tomorrow.
Come on, of course. Who are you talking to?
Wear that tomorrow.
I'm going to tell you this right now, Baddog. If we take 2 Hogs with our first 2 picks this year, I'm buying 2 Hog jerseys. I want to have the whole offensive line. Once we get a good offensive line, I'm going to have every offensive line's jersey. So if we take Linderbaum, I'm going to be first online to get myself a Linderbaum jersey.
I got to get me that McKinney color rush. I can't find it, but I have to get one. I wanted one last year. Now he's making a Pro Bowl. I definitely want one. That's my guy, McKinney. I love him. Fat American, thank you so much, brother. Really appreciate the super chat. He says, so back to the Giants, the cap situation, the quarterback, GM, and head coach. I'm guessing a lot of changes next season. Eagles fans are worse, by the way. Yeah, the Eagle fans are rough. Cap situation sucks. I think, personally, I would bring Daniel Jones back. I don't want to draft the quarterback. I don't like the quarterbacks in this year's class. I don't want to pay for a stopgap guy. I think that we have to adjust the offensive line. And if Daniel Jones is good behind a good O-line, then you can consider moving him forward. If he's not, then you just let him go. And GM gone, head coach, I want going. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm with you on Jones. If you gave me the option of drafting a quarterback or sticking with Jones for another year, I would stick with Jones. I know fans may not want to hear that, but I'm not just taking a quarterback to take a quarterback. Do I doubt, can Kenny Pickett be a really good quarterback in the NFL? Sure, it's certainly possible. I've been impressed with some of the things that I've seen, but the way I look at it is this, Baddog. If we put off taking a lineman again this year in the first round, and I know you could say you could take a lineman with one of the other picks, but to me, I want to shore that thing up. And if you wait another year and you don't get the offensive line shored up, well, then it's going to take a year after that for that offensive lineman to progress. We saw what happened with Andrew Thomas. It took him till his second year until he really hit his stride. So now you're talking year 3 of that quarterback on his rookie contract till you have a situated offensive line. I want to get this situated. I want to get it done with, and there's not a quarterback in this draft that knocks my socks off. So me personally as a fan right now, giving you my honest opinion, I do definitely want to bring in a much better backup. I'll say that right now. I want to have a legitimate quarterback competition. I don't want to give Daniel Jones a free pass where he is definitively the starter. I want to do something like Denver did with Bridgewater and Drew Lock going into the year. Bridgewater won the job. Mm-hmm. If we bring in a guy like Mariota, like Bridgewater, like, Andy Dalton, name a quarterback and they legitimately outperformed Daniel Jones in preseason, I have no issue with them getting the starting job at the start of the year. But I do not want to force a quarterback pick. I think it would be a massive mistake.
I agree. King Zo, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. My guy says Jets should give us Ashton Davis.
Nick Yak says, yet you didn't want Slater. Nick Yak, do you watch my channel?
Yeah,
I don't know if you're talking to me, but did you watch my channel, Nick Yak? I was on my hands and knees wanting Rashawn Slater for about 2 months leading up into the draft.
Yeah. I wanted Micah Parsons, but I was fine with Rashawn Slater. Absolutely fine with him. I had no problem. Damien, you didn't have to super chat again, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you. So I knew you meant week 11. I figured that's tremendous. I know what you were doing, though. You were going back to the good vibes of 2000. That was a good year. 2011 was a good year. Joe Judge ain't know nothing about in 2011. I can tell you that right now. That was a good year for us. God, that was 11 years ago. Holy cow.
Sure.
At least it wasn't. At least it wasn't 27 years ago or 30 years ago. Like a couple of our compadres here in the NFC East. Tutto, grazie, paisano, grazie. All bad owners hire more GMs. Bad GMs hire more head coaches. Bad head coaches bringing in garbage players who would lose every game. That's a vicious cycle of crap. And you're right. It starts with a bad owner hiring a bad GM who hires a bad coach, who drafts bad players, and you end up with a bad team.
I don't know if Roldy heard me wrong. He says, Chris, what's focusing a quarterback? Maybe you misspelled. I said forcing a quarterback. To me, forcing a quarterback pick is taking a quarterback before you're equipped to support the guy.
Like we did with Daniel Jones.
Yeah, exactly. Daniel Jones. It's taking a guy that does not have elite upside. Here's the thing, man. If we draft a guy that's a little bit better than Daniel Jones in terms of his upside, and we have the line in place, or at least they're emerging, you're going to be able to get the most out of that guy's abilities. Bring a quarterback into this mess that does not have the upside of an elite quarterback talent, which if you listen to almost any expert, nobody feels that they do. Maybe the Giants will feel differently. I am not going to support taking a quarterback in this draft.
No. I know there's guys that want to, and I get it. But
I'm going to convince themselves no matter what. You know that.
I know, but I feel like no matter what, again, there's no quarterback that knocks my socks off, and we're going to put a quarterback. Granted, you could draft a lineman with one of your picks and then go with a quarterback, but I don't want a quarter. I've said this. If we trade back and get like a future first, say we get a first in this year and a future first, and there's a quarterback in the second round, like people keep talking about Malik Willis. So say we trade say we're picking 6th and 7th, and you can get your lineman at number 6, and you can trade 7 back to say, I don't know, 21, and you get a first round pick for next year. And maybe you get another offensive lineman 21, and you want to go Malik Willis at some point in the second round, or maybe you get a first round pick, a future first and a late second or something, depending on who trades up. Then maybe you consider it if you can build the offensive line before you get to a quarterback. But I don't want to take a quarterback in the top 10. Let me make that perfectly clear. You want to take one later in the draft? Like if we have 2 third-round picks, if somebody falls back there and you're like, okay, let's bring in this kid. Okay.
I have no issue because there's no financial commitment. If you want to take a shot on a guy with upside, have at it.
Yeah.
But if you draft a quarterback in the top 10 of this year's draft, it's going to prohibit you from drafting a quarterback in the next 2 drafts.
That's right.
Because of the financial commitment. And you're still going to be committed to Jones if you're unable to trade the guy for the next year. You do that, you're in bed with that guy for the next 3 years. You have to realize that if you take a quarterback inside the top 10.
Dashy, thank you, brother. I really appreciate the super chat, my man. He says, what are the Bengals' chances to catch the Ravens and win the AFC North? I don't know what the standings are on the AFC North. I know you beat the Ravens the first time you played them. So obviously, if you beat them again, you're going to have the tiebreaker.
They're a game out right now, the Bengals.
So there you go. You beat the Ravens, you got a good chance to win.
Let me look at their schedule. I'm curious because that division is the
Bengals. I tell Dash all the time, they're so up and down. Yeah. They're really good when they look unbelievable. They crush Baltimore, then they lose at the Jets.
Let me give you the Bengals schedule. They got the Niners this week, who are I would say it's about even. The 2 teams kind of in the middle of the pack there. It's at home. At the Broncos, same thing. Maybe they split those 2 games. Ravens, Chiefs, and at the Browns. Browns ain't playing so hot, but that is far from an easy schedule. The good news for them, the Ravens, their schedule is not much easier. If you look at the Ravens' upcoming schedule, they play at the Browns, the Packers, at Cincinnati, the Rams, and the Steelers. So I think it's going to come down to that game against Cincinnati. I think whoever wins that game is going to win the division.
I agree. My man Diet Ghost says Tutu is an effing savage. You're right, Diet Ghost. He is a savage. That's why I love him. And he's Italian. Grazie, paisano. Grazie, Tutu. He says, what's the best part about dating a female Eagles fan? They're down without asking, and they always give up in the fourth quarter.
There you go, Tutu. And Roldy, I saw Roldy's comment about what if a GM comes in and wants a quarterback. Then, I mean, listen, I didn't agree with the Daniel Jones pick on draft night. I hope that the GM was right. I hope the same thing this time around. But if you're asking me what I think is the right decision, I thought, I do not think it's the right decision going into the draft. I'm not going to change my stance on that and taking a quarterback. But if they feel that's the only thing that makes any logical sense, they have to feel that the guy is going to be an elite quarterback prospect. Otherwise, you don't take him.
Yeah, I agree. Nader, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Carl Banks is head coach. Imagine that. Well, I'm thinking more higher up for Carl Banks.
You want him to be what, the general manager?
Yeah, why not?
There's been a lot of
I would like Carl Banks with the organization in some facet. I like that he cares. Yeah. He's the Giant. He's going to want to succeed. What the hell's Gettleman got to do with the Giants? What the hell's Judge got to do with the Giants? Carl Banks is a smart guy, Listen, I'm not going to I was going to tell you this off the air, but I'm going to say it now. I am going to try, and I doubt this will work. I'm going to try to get him on the show.
Yeah.
Not during the season, but maybe like after the last game or maybe before the beginning of the season. I want to, again, I doubt it'll happen, but I'd like to reach out to them and just say, hey,
it'll probably happen.
15 to 20 minutes. We'd love to have you on the show and just kind of give us your thoughts on what the Giants have to do to get better.
He's got another podcast. I bet you'd come on.
I would like to try. God, it doesn't hurt to try. But I was, like I said, I was going to save that for off the air and try to kind of surprise people. But if we were able to get him, it would surprise people anyway. But I do. I want to reach out to him and see. Got nothing to lose, right? What's he going to do? Say, I can't make it? Okay, no problem. I get it. You're Carl Banks. Who the hell are we? Tommy, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Any chance the Saints would take picks for Peyton?
Oh, you're talking about the coach? Sean Payton? There's been, if I'm not mistaken, not recently, but I think there has been trades where teams have gotten picks for coaches, if I'm not mistaken. But no, I doubt it, man. I think if Payton wants out, he's going to leave. I don't think he's gonna. I know that there's been rumors. If I had to guess, he's probably going to stay. It's not like the Saints have this horrible situation. They still got a great offensive line, and they're really a quarterback away from being a really good team. Mm-hmm. And if they have the ability to go out there and trade for Russell Wilson, I know that Wilson came out, but it's in season. I don't believe a word that he says. I still think he's going to push his way out of there. Maybe another veteran quarterback. Maybe they like a quarterback in the draft. I don't think Sean Payton's leaving there. The Giants are a much worse situation than the New Orleans Saints.
I agree. Yeah. Asia, my lady, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat, my lady. Hey, Bad Doggy Loon, and stand up, my sexy Tainah. Bad Dog FL, Bad View, and Louis T's channel. You look like you didn't want to be there, but the paper bag had me dying. I started that stream with the paper bag in my head, and I thought they'd get a kick out of that. Asia, I actually had a really good time in there, but when they're talking about the playoffs and stuff, I really have nothing to say. I don't have anything to say. So I just sat back and listened. I definitely had my opportunity to talk, my talking points, but we all get, that's why I love that. We all pretty much get equal opportunity to talk, and we each have like a couple of minutes where we can get our point across. And I love doing it. I had a lot of fun, regardless of how bad the Giants are, but it would have been awesome if we were in the mix of the playoffs. It would have been a lot better if all four teams are there. It would have made it even better, but I definitely look forward to working with those guys again, and maybe we'll do it at the end of the year or something, but there's no doubt that's one of my favorite things to do. I love working with those three guys. They're all awesome content creators. I have the utmost respect for them. They work hard and they do a great job, all of them. Those are my guys. So I definitely had a lot of fun, but yeah, it would have been nice if the Giants were worth a damn, Ronnie, thank you so much. I appreciate the super chat. A little $5 boom. That's the old school right there. That's just what we do in there.
I love her hat. Was it like a chef hat? Giant chef hat? I like it.
She representing Big Blue there. Right.
I like it. I've seen Jimmy Welikoff say this about 8 times. He says, "What's the downside of starting Jake Fromm?" There is no downside.
No.
There's also probably no upside, but
True.
There's no downside. I mean, Jake Fromm sucks. Don't get your hopes up, but I understand that people want to see an unknown suck. That's what Jake Fromm is. He's an unknown suck, and when you get to see him, you'll be like, all right, I don't really care who plays.
Listen, my man Uncle Lou. Georgia fan, diehard Georgia fan, knows his college football as good as anybody that I watch on YouTube, probably better. He hated Jake Fromm, hated him so much so that when Jake Fromm got off the team bus in the Georgia Tech game, he screamed out Jake Fromm or Jack Fromm. That's what he called him. Jack Fromm all the time. He hated him. Go back and watch his videos. He hated Jake Fromm. Sucks. And he actually said, he goes, Baddog, it's bad if you're Jake Fromm's on your team. He knows. I'll take his advice.
I spent time watching a lot of Jake Fromm film just because the last couple of days and listening, like you said, not just him, but a lot of Georgia fans talk about Fromm when he was with the team. No. And a lot of people coming in and said he lacks arm strength, lacks mobility.
He's got no mobility. He runs a 5'1" 40. He's gonna get killed back there.
And he has no grasp of the playbook probably quite yet.
Can't do it.
He's going to get his chance probably at some point, and you'll see.
When we're ready to tank, he'll be in there. Revolutionary Edits, thank you, brother. Really appreciate the super chat. He says, hey, guys, what is Maris so afraid of in terms of hiring outside the organization? Could it be much worse than 3, 5, 4, 6, and 4 wins? He's crazy, if that's a belief. That's what's so frustrating. We don't know why he does what he does.
Yeah, I'm going to give him the chance before we criticize the guy. Maybe he will. We don't know. We're just assuming he's going to hire from within inside the organization. So I'll give him my chance. But if he hires Abrams or if he hires O'Brien.
O'Brien?
What is that?
What O'Brien?
Kyle O'Brien. He's with the Giants.
I was going to say, don't even talk about Bill O'Brien.
No. Kyle O'Brien, he's a former Patriots guy who's on the Giants staff. But if he hires somebody that's on the Giants staff, I am going to light him up. I'm not going to be happy, but I'll give him that opportunity first. But yes, in the past, he has not shown a willingness to think outside the organization. He likes to hire people he's familiar with, comfortable with. Jerry Reese, of course, was from within the organization. Gettleman from within the organization. So we'll see. Maybe he does something different. If we're going to, let's see. Let's give him the chance. He did. I thought the Joe Judge hire was a little bit different than what I expected. Maybe he will bring in a GM that we don't expect.
Yeah. By the way, we got 530 people in the house. Thank you so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. Do us a favor. It helps out the stream. Smack that like button. It really helps out. It definitely on a live stream, the like button helps. So hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so. Make sure you hit the subscribe and ring the bell. Come back tomorrow. We'll be on this channel for the Chargers and the Giants. Most important thing you got to do is go into the description. Link to the Untitled Talkin Sports is there. If you haven't subbed up him, I don't know where you've been. Maybe living under a rock, maybe hanging out with Joe Judge or something. But sub him up. We do this show every week. We alternate channels. We call every game together. We alternate channels. So make sure you subscribe to the Untitled Talkin Sports. Ring that bell. And thank you guys and girls for being here. Asia, my lady. Thank you. Appreciate you. She says Tebow's on ESPN. I knew he was doing something. I just didn't know what network he was on.
I thought he was on ESPN.
Yeah. Anthony Razza, grazie, paisano. Evan Neal, offensive line, Alabama. Tyler Linderbaum, Big Ten lineman of the year. Iowa. We need them both. We do. We're not going to get them both. Neal's going to go to Jacksonville, is my guess.
We might. Who knows? You don't know.
If Neal falls to us, I'll be happier than a pig in slop.
Let me ask you this right now, because I was actually having this conversation today. Say we draft Evan Neal. Evan Neal's a left tackle. Do you shift Thomas or you leave? I would still leave Thomas on the left side.
Yeah.
He's played on the left side for the last 2 years. He's shown progress, but now you're asking Neal to play a position that he's never played at the collegiate level. Actually, no. I think Neal has played. I think I read that. I think he has played guard and right tackle at some points during his collegiate career, but I would think you put Neal on the right side and you leave Thomas on the left, at least to start.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, but I definitely would take them both in a heartbeat if that was the case. Wolf and Hogs, thank you, my man. Cool puppy too. He says, I think we look at the positives here. At least we can score. Gano is amazing. The rest of the team is garbage. Fact.
Yeah, Graham Gano turned out to be Dave Gettleman's best move as a general manager.
Yes.
Graham Gano and probably Nick Gates, in terms of the value that he got from him, were probably his two best moves. And not many. I mean, Andrew Thomas looks like a really good move, but McKinney, there's moves here and there, but overall,
Ojulari looks pretty good. Maybe I should be like the Cowboys fans and start talking about, Azeez Ojulari set the rookie sack record for the Giants. Oh, Lawrence Taylor coming. Oh, he's Lawrence Taylor. Oh, yeah.
But by the way, you bring up the Cowboys linebacker. A guy I've been looking at, and I know you're pretty familiar with college football. You know about Devin Lloyd?
No.
He's a linebacker. I've been watching clips of him. He's going to be like a mid first round pick. That guy, when I watch him play so far, and I've been watching a few clips of him here and there. He reminds me of Micah Parsons. The way that he's able to rush the A gap, he's super athletic. I would not be upset at all if the Giants took a player like that in the first round, if they took a lineman as well. I think middle linebacker is as big of a need, especially a versatile linebacker like that, as the edge rusher is for us. But I've had my eyes on him. I know Nakobe Dean's another very popular middle linebacker as well. But
he's a dog. He's coming.
Yeah.
Nakobe Dean, the Buckus winner, Nakobe Dean.
He's a beast. But I'm going to tell you what, if you guys have not checked out Devin Lloyd, give him a look, man. He's definitely an impressive prospect.
Yeah. LA Lou, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I've seen a lot of early mock drafts, and Desmond Ridder of Cincy is not a first rounder in many. Would you invest a second in him for the Giants?
Oh, I'm sorry. What was the question?
Desmond Ridder. Would you invest a second round pick in Desmond Ridder?
Desmond Ridder is actually, he's one of the I don't want a quarterback. He's one of the quarterbacks that I actually probably like the most in this draft, and I don't feel like he's being talked about enough at the top. I like Ridder. I think he's got some mobility. I like Ridder.
It's because he's in the group of five. That's not going to get you, like nobody talked about Ian Book last year either. That's not going to get you a lot of notoriety playing in that. But we'll see. I'll know more about Desmond Ridder when he plays against Bama.
He's going to play in the playoffs, right?
Against Bama, right.
But yeah, I mean, I watched the play against Notre Dame. I was impressed with him when I watched that game when they played him in the regular season. He's got some mobility. We'll see. I mean, Kenny Pickett to me is pretty impressive. The worry there is he's got small hands, people talk about, and the fact that he's 24 and he kind of came out of nowhere. But Joe Burrow came out of nowhere. So,
right.
We'll see. We'll see what the Giants end up deciding to do with that. Obviously, Malik Willis coming in was the most talked about quarterback. He's hit or miss. He has some games where you're like, what the hell is the guy doing when you see some of his throws and then you see his ability with other plays. So, we'll see what and obviously Matt Corral as well from Ole Miss is another.
My biggest problem with guys like Ridder and Malik Willis is I think they need development, and I don't trust our coaches to develop these kids. That's my biggest issue. I don't think there's a quarterback coming in here that's going to set the world on fire on natural ability alone, where I think that a lot of these quarterbacks have to be coached up, and I don't trust their coaches to do it, which is why I'm so off of taking a quarterback this year, unless, like I said, somebody falls into our lap maybe later in the draft.
Yeah,
and we're able to do it. But I just would rather shore up the lines, the offensive line, the defensive line, whatever. Game is still won in the trenches. We don't win at either trench. So I think we have to fix that before we consider the quarterback. But I'll be interested to see how. I think since he's going to get blown out, but it'll be interesting to see. I think Ridder could have a pretty decent game, but I could still see Bama winning that game like 45-21. I don't think it's going to be close.
Oh, they're going to destroy them.
I agree. Nader, thank you. I think so too. Yeah. The Georgia-Michigan game should be good though. Nader says next quarterback pick, Arch Manning, 2024-25. Well, I don't think he'd be out until 2026 because I don't think he can start college till 2023. Is that right?
I'm not sure. Is he a senior or junior? I don't even know.
I think he's a senior this coming year. I think he's 2023 because there was rumors that he might go to Oklahoma in 2023. So
that would mean 2026 would be the draft that he's eligible because you got to play 3 years of college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams. I'm just hoping. I know Oklahoma's had a lot of turnover. I'm just hoping Caleb Williams stays around because I loved watching him play, man. He was pretty damn amazing for a freaking freshman, true freshman that didn't play a senior in high school because of the whole COVID thing. Orvin and Jagron, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Jets have 14 starters out. How much do we lose in New Orleans by? 7.
Their quarterback's not very good. So I think they'll keep it close, actually. I think the Jets will lose, but I think they'll I like your score. I would say by about a touchdown. I'll take this. I don't think the Jets will get blown out. The Saints quarterback is horrible.
Yeah, I agree. So I concur. Fat American, thank you, brother. Appreciate the super chat, my good man. Thank you so much. He says, how did the Giants manage to get their trenches so dominant? They're 7-8-09 and 2010 haven't had another team both lines dominant like that since. Bad draft.
Ernie Accorsi was the reason for those offensive lines.
That's right.
I know Reese was here for, the team got good, but Ernie Accorsi brought in every one of those offensive linemen in terms of the guys that were successful. So the only guy that Reese brought in was Boss in free agency with the second team that won the Super Bowl. But the five great linemen that we had, Deal, O'Hara, Snee, McKenzie, who we brought in free agency, and I forgot somebody off the top of my head, but those were all Ernie Accorsi guys. So Ernie Accorsi built that entire team that won the first Super Bowl.
He definitely did. Nick Yak says, watching Parsons is as close to watching Lawrence Taylor since Lawrence Taylor retired. Incorrect, sir. Not close. Not close. It's if you watch Lawrence Taylor play, not close. Micah Parsons hasn't faced any double teams. Micah Parsons,
by the way, Rich Seubert's the other guy. Yeah.
Micah Parsons has not faced double teams. Micah Parsons has not had the entire team change its entire blocking scheme to worry about him. They don't build an entire offensive game plan around stopping Micah Parsons. What I heard, JJ, what I heard Khalil Mack, I have heard all these names mentioned about Lawrence Taylor. None of them have even come close to living up to Lawrence Taylor. I'm not about to give a guy who's played 13 games or 12 games in the NFL. I'm not mentioning him. I don't. People don't understand how good Lawrence Taylor was. They just don't. And
by the way, are we? People bring up the Lawrence Taylor thing, and I get it, I guess, because he's from within the division, but he's not even close. But are we just going to forget about other great linebackers that we've seen? That are we going to just
Eric Thomas, Mike Singletary?
How about in more recent history? Are we putting Micah Parsons above Khalil Mack when Khalil Mack was at his best? Khalil Mack was incredible at the linebacker position. Why are we just jumping to Lawrence Taylor? No, Khalil Mack looked at least as good as Micah Parsons does now at one point in his career. So let's pump the brakes on the Lawrence Taylor. Let Micah Parsons do this for 8 more years.
Right.
Then let's open up that discussion.
Let Micah Parsons win 3 Defensive Players of the Year, an MVP, and 2 Super Bowls, and have 140 plus sacks. And then we'll talk. And then we'll talk about it. And still don't think he'd be there. He could put up the same exact numbers as Lawrence Taylor. The quarterbacks throw a lot more. People are like, Lawrence Taylor chased down slow quarterbacks. It does not matter. Quarterbacks throw 50 times a game nowadays.
People on ESPN have had the goal to say that Aaron Donald is better than Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, well, people on ESPN, they're not. Yeah, listen, the people on TV, they're not analysts. They're actors, okay? They're actors. They don't know anything about what the hell they're talking about. That's why YouTube is popular, because the fans know. The fans understand this. Don't get me
wrong. Aaron Donald definitely, you could say, it impacted the game. He was now a lot of teams do look for that interior pass rusher that could generate pressure up the middle, and he's definitely a part of that. But he did not impact the game like Lawrence Taylor.
Right.
I mean, teams literally game plan their entire game plan.
Joe Gibbs did.
Yeah. He ain't Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor is the greatest defensive player in the history of football. How the hell are you going to compare a rookie to that guy? And so I want Bag Doodle mention, yes, number one, the Rangers are in first place in the Metropolitan Division, so the Rangers are the best team in New York. But he says Von Miller. There's another one that was great for a long time.
Von Miller was incredible. J.J. Watt.
So again, we're just Micah Parsons, the hell with Von Miller, the hell with Mike Singletary, the hell with Derek Thomas or Khalil Mack. We're just going to write to LT.
He's got to get past Brian Urlacher.
He's got to go.
There's steps.
Exactly. I was going to say he's got to get up the ladder. He's up a few rungs. He ain't near the top. Come on. That's like a jobber winning the title in the WWE. It's not going to happen. You got to work your way up.
Yeah.
Tutto, grazie, paisano said, we've been on a winning streak against all odds because we refuse to bend, break, lose. Defeat ain't an option. We always train to win or die trying. That's why Tutto should. Somebody was talking about bringing Tebow in. We need to bring Tutto in.
I'm in. Get him in here.
I think we need Tutto to train Joe Judge.
At least he'll bring cannolis and Peronis.
Well, that's true. Well, only if they do well. It's a reward. Tutto bring cannolis and Peronis for himself.
Yeah.
Players. Evan Ingham, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. He says, I only hope we draft O-line and sign Zion. Zion's done for the year.
Is he? Is he?
Basketball operation shut down. He's Greg Oden 2.0.
He's 300 pounds.
Yeah, Greg Oden 2.0.
What a disaster, man. And that's a shame because Zion to me, he's got like that Shaq personality. Like he's got that. He's a guy that's easy to root for, and he's a guy that could easily be the face of the NBA. Like he's very likable. I don't think it's going to work out though.
No, I don't either. Unfortunately, he just can't. He can't stay healthy. so it's unfortunate, but that's the case. Flames, thank you, brother. I really appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. He says, what up, Baddog? Love your vids and the Giants. Thank you. I'm glad somebody does. Some people give me a hard time to go, you're so negative. Well, I think I'm realistic. I don't think I'm negative. If we were 9-4, do you think I'd be making or 8-4? Do you think I'd be making these videos? No. I'd be praising them. I would not be killing. Yo, Pigskin Pete in the house. He says, I'm drinking a Peroni right now. Don't have a cannoli. Well, that's where if I had the Uncle Lou soundboard, Pigskin Pete, you gotta have a cannoli, sir. The Flame says, I love your videos on the Giants. Whose jersey should I get? Half the team's a piece of glass. The other half is gone next year. Like I said, for me, it's McKinney because I like secondary. It's my favorite position. Could get the Andrew Thomas jersey.
No, McKinney's
maybe Aziz Ojolari looks like he could be pretty good.
Yeah. I want to see a little bit more proof from him. But I think I'd feel safe.
He's got some upside.
Yeah. Tony's a little premature. The guy's been hurt too much.
Maybe a Joe Judge jersey. There's no I don't know, Flames. Like I said, I want a McKinney. Maybe you should just go back to the old school and get you an LT or a Bavaro or something.
Get an Eli. If you like quarterbacks.
Get an Eli, yeah.
That's old school at this point.
Yeah, that's true. It's tough. It's tough. I don't know. It's a tough call, but man. LA Lou, thank you, brother. Really appreciate the super chat. My man, this is the only comparison of Lawrence Taylor and Aaron Donald is what they've done for their positions, but they're two totally different animals, and Aaron Donald's story hasn't reached LTs yet.
Yeah, no, Aaron Donald is
a beast.
Definitely, he changed the perception of the interior defensive lineman.
That's one ever. He's probably the best defensive tackle ever.
Yeah, and you've seen teams try to mimic that in the NFL. So he definitely, you can make an argument, change the game, but not on the same level as Lawrence Taylor.
I agree. Fat American, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. I mean, this is the easiest question I think we've ever received. Best pizza, Chicago, New York?
Are you on drugs, Fat American? Of course, Fat American would ask that, but no, I actually love both. I love Chicago.
That wasn't the question.
And New York, but it ain't even close.
Okay.
New York all day. I've been to Chicago once. I enjoyed the Chicago a lot because I'd never had it. It was something different, but it's too filling. New York pizza I could eat every day. Like, I'm not saying I would, but I could. I don't feel the same with Chicago. It's too thick. You got to get the thinner slice. New York's got the sauce. You go with New York every time.
And it's New York. There's no question. New York's got the best pizza outside of maybe Italy. I've never been to Italy, I'm guessing. There's no better pizza in the United States than New York. New York doesn't have a lot of good things. We don't have a lot of good teams. We have good pizza. We got good food, got good delis, good cannolis, bakeries, even upstate New York. Even in upstate New York, we have that stuff up here.
Yeah.
It's just it's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, it's New York. It's hands down here. Now, Chicago hot dog, it's pretty good.
I'm still going with the dirty word of dog.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that Chicago dogs are better than – I don't like Chicago pizza, but Chicago dogs are good. But, yeah, New York.
I never had the Chicago – I mean, I've seen it. When I went to Wrigley Field, they had it. I should have got it. I didn't get it. Well,
it's pretty good. It's
pretty
good.
10 different things.
I know. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. But yeah, you get a New York – you just get a dog off a New York street vendor.
It's great.
New York's food is fantastic.
Yeah.
New York's food is fantastic. Jeffrey, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. He says, I watched the tape and determined Hernandez sucks. Do you think that Joe Judge watches tape on Nate Solder?
No.
I didn't think so.
No way. If he did, Nate Solder wouldn't be on the team anymore. I mean, the guy's horrible.
All right, let's talk about this. Now, you mentioned it earlier because, again, and somebody just mentioned down below about Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned before. He came out and said, I never said that. I never said I'd waive the no trade. Never said I wanted to go to New York.
No.
He's not going to come out and go.
He didn't say New York specifically. He just said at all.
Right. He's not going to come out and go, yes, I said I wanted to be traded.
Yeah.
Two things. 3 years ago, this is also a rumor that he could have been coming to New York. 3 years ago, before he drafted Daniel Jones, I would have loved Russell Wilson. By the way, Ivan, thank you for the super chat, man. I appreciate it very much. 33-year-old Russell Wilson, banged up, starting to decline a little bit. Way better than anything we have here. We have to give up one of them first-round picks and a third, one of our thirds. Are you doing it?
I would consider it.
Okay.
Because here's the way, and again, I don't want to. I want to think long term. I want to think long term. But if you give me the option of taking Wilson with that first round pick or taking Pickett, I'd rather Wilson. He's the proven commodity. I'm not a strong believer in any of these quarterbacks in this draft at this point in time. And the way that I would rationalize it as a fan would be I essentially traded down from 11 to 20, and I got Kadarius Toney and Russell Wilson. That's right. That's the way I would rationalize it as a fan. So I wouldn't flip out about it. It's not what I want. I want to be long-term thinking. I want to build the line, and I want to draft our quarterback for the long term. But and it doesn't make any sense from Russell Wilson's perspective. If Russell Wilson wants to come to the New York Giants, he needs to be drug tested, because this is a guy, like you said, he's 33, 34 years old. He's been bitching about his not rightfully so, complaining about his offensive line with the Seattle Seahawks for the last 5 years. He's coming into just as bad of a situation. And the New York pressure, you think you deal with anything in Seattle, you come in here, they don't care.
Right.
People in
You're going to be expected to do a lot more.
What you did with Seattle over the last 4 years here with the New York Giants, maybe it's good for his brand, but he ain't going to win games here. And if you're asking me what's going to better prolong his career, it's the New Orleans Saints. You get to play in that cushy dome. Yep. You get Sean Payton as your play caller. You got that strong offensive line. It's a no-brainer from a football perspective. He'd be on crack to want to come to the New York Giants if he's thinking about football.
I completely agree. And again, I can't imagine him wanting to come here outside of his wife wanting him to come here. The only way I could rationalize, like I said, I would not giving up 2 top 10 picks for him. I would never do that. But if you could get an offensive lineman, one of those picks, and draft an offensive lineman in the second round and bring in Russell Wilson here, and you got, hopefully Nick Gates comes back healthy, and you're still going to have to replace Will Hernandez. Maybe do that in the draft. I don't know. But obviously he's a lot better than what we have, but he makes a lot of money. So it'd be interesting. I can't see him wanting to come here, but for a first and a third, again, I might consider. I'm not giving up 2 top 10s for it. No doubt about that. I'm not giving up 2 top 10 picks. There's just no way. Like you said, it would be like we traded our 11 pick for Russell Wilson and Kadarius Toney, and I could definitely rationalize that. But I can't see him coming here.
I don't see it. And I see Wampback, and for that price, I think it might cost more than that too. But I see Wampback Doodle says, and if you're willing to get Wilson, why wouldn't you just sign Aaron Rodgers? Well, you got to trade for Aaron Rodgers. He's not a free agent. You'd have to trade for Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers has it in his contract that he gets to handpick the team that he gets traded to. So
right.
He gets to pick it. Why in the world would Aaron Rodgers want to come to the New York Giants? I'm going to tell you what about Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to stay with Green Bay. I think he's going to pull a Tom Brady, and I think he's going to force them to trade Jordan Love, much like Tom Brady did with Jimmy Garoppolo. And that, to me, is an interesting proposition. If you get Jordan Love for like a third-round pick, why not take a flyer on him?
But you might as well.
I think that's what's going to happen in Green Bay. I think Rodgers is going to stay with the Packers, but I think he's going to force them to trade Jordan Love.
That I would do. I would do that. Depressed Giants fan, thank you for the super chat, brother. Really appreciate it. As much as I like Russell Wilson, it won't work. I agree.
Yeah, probably wouldn't work. I mean, he's 34 years old. We don't have the team right now.
Right. The one thing I'll say, supposedly I saw when I read this that he wouldn't come here, they said that you think the Giants' offensive line is better. Seattle's ranked 31st in pass blocking. The Giants are ranked 15th in pass blocking. Now, I don't know
who's doing those rankings.
I don't know who they get the rankings from, and I don't know what they base it on.
They must not be watching the games, man.
Because PFF has the Giants 31st. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how that works. So you take all those rankings with a grain of salt. We watched them play. They stink.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. Albin, thank you, brother. Really appreciate you. My man, he says, I have an unpopular take. I think Evan Neal is overrated. I see him having injuries with his size, bad hand placement, and him struggling with a speed rusher. That's not an unpopular take. Listen, I don't watch. I haven't looked at the tape. So it's very possible some guys that are really good in college end up failing miserably in the NFL. I want Linderbaum. That is the I've been clamoring for him.
I'm gonna tell you my draft day crush right now on the offensive line. It's Ikem, or however it's pronounced. Ikem Ekwinu, or however it's pronounced, on NC State. He is one of the top linemen in this draft class as well. That is a guy, if you enjoy watching nasty offensive line play, you got to check out if you're listening to the stream right now. Every time I watch a highlight of that guy, he's going back down to the ground. He's making sure he hits a guy a second, a third time. He's super athletic. They think he can project better at the guard. But that's a guy that I really like. And
well,
of course,
we're getting rid of Hernandez, so you can bring him right in there.
yeah, man, you get him and Evan Neal, man, or him and Linder. But but that's a guy I really like that I've been watching.
I do think Evan Neal is going to go to Jacksonville. I feel like he's going to go there. He's a left tackle. You got a young Trevor Lawrence there. You want to definitely build a line around him. I could definitely see him going there. But you never know. Draft day always brings a lot of surprises. That's why we love to cover. It's one of our favorite days to do. Chris and I spent a lot of time that weekend. My wife always wants to thank Chris for that. She says better him than me. I'm just kidding. But we have a lot of fun with that. And that's always fun. I actually like to take the next day off of work because Thursday I like to have a few beers. Tutto, grazie. Thank you so much, Paisano. He says, haven't had any cannolis or sweets for almost 15 years. Extreme discipline, graded into rewards. I couldn't be where I am with a big contract now.
There you go.
God bless you, sir. When you retire, Tutto, get you a cannoli.
Yeah, when he retires, that'll be his retirement gift.
Yeah, actually, come to New York. We'll buy you a cannoli or 10 when you're all done. Nandin, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. From north of the border, says Kenny Pickett to the Giants. I'm not a big fan of Kenny Pickett.
I got to know who the GM is at first, and then before I could really answer that and hear how he talks about everything and what his plan's going to be. If you're asking me right now what I think they're going to do, I wouldn't be surprised if they take a quarterback. I'm not saying it's what I want, but would I be surprised if they go with a lineman and a quarterback in this year's draft? No, I wouldn't at all.
The Giants should learn their lesson, not take a quarterback from the ACC. Thank you.
Let's put it this way, Baddog. You're not going to see me be shocked if they take a quarterback like I was when they took Jones this year. I would not be shocked at all if they bring in a new GM and they take one. I'm not, but I think we both agree we don't want them to, but I wouldn't be shocked. And Kenny Pickett is a good prospect.
I'll be mad. I'll be mad if they do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm going to be Smiles. I'm not going to be Smiles. But it's not my desire. Let's put it that way. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do it.
Let's hope not. Jeffrey, thank you, brother. Really appreciate the super chat. He says Hernandez and Solder versus Bosa tomorrow. Prayers for the giraffe. Yeah, giraffe might become extinct tomorrow. Maybe Joe Judge just forfeit. I don't know. The most Giants thing to do would be to win this game. That'd be the Giant thing to do. To win a game you have no business winning, like the Raiders. I picked them to beat the Raiders. I'm not picking them to beat Los Angeles, but
I can't see it,
man. The total Giant thing to do is to find a way to win that game of all games. It's kind of like when we went into Seattle last year and beat them with Colt McCoy. I'm not saying that's happening, because trust me, I'm not. But
hey, man, any given Sunday, anything can happen. So I shouldn't say they can't win, but
I can't see it happening. But I
can't see it happening.
It would be a Giant thing to do for sure. Our defense we're just not going to score enough. That's the problem.
The only way we have a shot is our defense has to have
score three touchdowns on our own.
Yeah, they gotta create a lot of turnovers.
Zach Attack, thank you, brother. Really appreciate you, my man. He says, "What's good, fellas? Just subbed you both. Thank you. We appreciate that. Did Eli deserve the criticism he received in the latter half of his career?
No. Not the majority of it, in my opinion.
Listen, I was definitely I criticized Eli. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like at the end of his career, he just had to hang it up. I've mentioned this a number of times. I felt like when they fired Coughlin, Eli lost something. He still battled. He was still tough. He still went out there, played every day. But I don't feel like Eli had the same. He wasn't the same Eli. He just was different. And I think in 2018, I was kind of done with him. By that point, I was ready for another quarterback. I know, Chris and I, when we started the show, it was 2018. And I know that I continued to mention Justin Herbert and bringing in Teddy Bridgewater. I was ready to move on from Eli in 2018. Not because I just felt like he couldn't do what he used to do. And not because I wanted to criticize either, but I remember Eli being an MVP, should have been MVP in 2011. I remember the guy throwing 30-plus touchdowns back-to-back years, winning 2 Super Bowl MVPs. I remembered that Eli. And in 2018, that Eli was no longer. And I felt like at that point, it's like, okay, he can't. I don't feel like we can win with Eli. I didn't expect to bring in Daniel Jones either. But that was why. And obviously, the same things that plagued the Giants now plagued him when Eli was there. We had no offensive line. They never addressed that for him, and he really didn't have a lot of chance. But again, he was 37, 38 years old. It felt like his best days were behind him. It was time to move on. So it's not like I was criticizing because because I wanted to, but I was just like, I don't think we can win with him anymore because the offensive line is bad and he had no mobility.
Yeah, I mean, the way I looked at it was, I think that was definitely fair. 2015, he was second in the league in touchdowns. We talk about that all the time. 2016, you weren't going to move on. They made the playoffs that year. 2017, you draft Evan Ingram. You went into that year with high expectations. You bring in Brandon Marshall. After 17, that's the first year in 2018 where they possibly could have moved on from Eli Manning. But the fact of the matter is, Eli Manning didn't fail the Giants like a lot of Giants fans made it out to be at the end of his career.
No, New York failed a bad team.
The New York Giants absolutely failed Eli Manning. And that was from 2012 on, as far as I'm concerned. Was he the same player at the end? No. Was Drew Brees the same player at the end? No. But the Saints set him up the right way. The Saints gave him an offensive line to finish his career for the last 3 or 4 years, and he was able to make the playoffs and have a consistently good football team. The Giants did not support Eli Manning the way that they had to in the latter portion of his career. They set him up properly, and then they failed him over the second half. So I never blamed Eli Manning. I knew that there was going to come a time where we were going to have to move on, and the timeline didn't make a whole lot of sense for Eli or the Giants because we were so far away from competing in 2018 that it would have probably been in the best interest for Eli to get traded to somewhere where they could have supported the guy and given him an opportunity to win. But obviously Eli wanted to go out as a Giant. He finished his career here. But no, man, I never put the blame on Eli. I put the blame a lot more on the Giants than I did Eli.
Yeah. Talking Eco, thank you, brother. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. He says, love or hate DJ, but Judge using DJ as a battering ram makes me extremely frustrated, infuriated. A judge, don't play with a kid's future, a fireable offense. Listen, that was pretty much what my video was about. And again, I'm not saying that they knew about the neck, but I looked at the things that they have done to Daniel Jones, like coming off concussion, having him run quarterback sneaks and having him finish the game on an ankle, which he could barely stand. And it made no sense. You're getting killed. Why he was in that game in the second half, it all made no sense. So again, I don't like the way they've treated him, and they have not given him a lot. I don't think they've given him the opportunity to do much. And again, I don't know if that's Joe Judge not having confidence. I don't know if that's Joe Judge's nature. He's just that way. Whatever it is, Judge needs to get the hell out of here. I'm done with him. I know you don't want to fire coaches left and right, but why? If the guy ain't getting the job done, what the hell are you hanging on to him for? You think all of a sudden he's going to figure it out next year? No, he's not going to figure it out next year. We're not basically the same team. So the hell with him.
Here's what I'll say. I think there was a stronger argument to keep Shurmur than there was Judge.
Yeah.
I think the argument was Jones. He was a quarterback guy. Jones was a year in. It made sense to keep Shurmur. Obviously, it made sense to move on as well, but I thought there was a stronger argument to keep him. With Judge, if you're firing the GM and he's going to limit your hiring potential, does it make more sense to me, if you're asking me as a fan from the outside looking in, to fit your GM around your current head coach who is 10-18, who has shown lapses in judgment at times in terms of being a head coach? He's wet behind the ears. Or does it make more sense to bring in the best possible GM you possibly can and him handpicking the coach that he wants to? And maybe I feel completely differently, Baddog, with the situation had they fired Gettleman in 19 and brought the GM in with Judge. Even if the team was playing the way they were, I'd probably be like, no, let's give these guys another year.
Right.
Let's let this GM continue to build the team. Judge was his guy, but that didn't happen.
Right.
So I don't want to limit my hiring potential with the general manager. So to me, if I'm being completely honest, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to keep Judge.
Right. I agree. Let the GM pick his own guys. You got to let him have carte blanche. You can't come in. You're not going to get the best candidate if you're restricting everything that they do. It's just the way it goes. That's how we ended up with Gettleman. You're gonna take Eli. You're gonna take this guy, that guy. You're taking this, and
that's what good organizations do, Baddog. Unfortunately, we're not a good one, so I don't have trust that the organization's going to do that. But I'm sorry, man, and I want to root for Joe Judge, man. We all want to root for Joe Judge. We all got behind him. We rooted for him. He had that great opening press conference. And I came in with the mindset, I want to get behind this guy. I don't want to give up on it. I want to give this guy as much of an opportunity as I feel I need to. But at the end of the day, if we're firing Gettleman, I don't want the same thing over again. I don't want to hire Abrams. I don't want to fit a guy around Joe Judge. No. Now,
No.
if the new GM that you bring in, say you bring in Borgonzi as a guy I really like from the Chiefs, or say you bring in Ed Dodds, or name the outside guy, and they want to keep Judge, okay. But I'm going to let that GM make that decision.
Yep, I completely agree. Synagogue of Steak, thank you, brother. He's related to the Meat Church. He says Seahawks should never trade Wilson to the Saints. Never say never.
What's the difference of trading him to the Saints and to the Giants? They're both out of the division.
Yeah, never say never.
Are they? I don't. Maybe I don't see much of a difference there. I mean, if the Saints aren't in the West,
never say never. Depends on what they offer him.
You know? They'll trade him to the best.
As Ted DiBiase said, everybody's got a price. Everybody's got a price. Flames, thank you, brother. I appreciate you, my man. The Giants have 19 touchdowns this year. Only one team is lower than us, and it's the Texans sitting at 18. The red zone offense is insanely horrific. Oh, it's disgraceful. Heard a stat that Jonathan Taylor has as many touchdowns as the Giants this year.
Yeah. Oh my God.
3 wide receivers have caught touchdowns for the Giants this year, too. Louis T quizzed me on that, and I didn't know him. I forgot Dante Pettis.
See if I can get it. 3 wide receivers have caught a touchdown. Well, I know it's not Galladay, and I know it's not Tony. So I'm gonna go not tight ends, receivers, right?
Wide receivers.
Dante Pettis is one of them.
I didn't know Pettis. I picked Board. I got the wrong one there.
Pettis is one of them. Shepard.
Yep.
And Slayton.
It wasn't Slayton.
It wasn't Slayton.
Or maybe it was.
Who am I forgetting? Who am I forgetting?
John Ross.
Oh, John Ross.
Big touchdown. I forgot about that too.
Yeah, the 50-yard touchdown. That's right. That's right.
So three wide receivers, unless he missed one, but those were the 3 that he mentioned. I couldn't remember. I just, like I said, I knew it wasn't Galladay and Tony, and Andrew Thomas has more touches on both of them, and Tony's out again. What a shock. Glitch, thank you, brother. Shout out to NYCFC for bringing a championship to New York. I'm not gonna brag about the soccer right there.
Yeah, people are asking me about the soccer in my stream. I'm like, all right, that's cool.
Hopefully the Rangers win a Stanley Cup. We can bring something home to New York.
If you're a soccer fan, though, congratulations.
Yes, absolutely.
You're a big soccer
I don't watch a soccer right there. I don't do. Nandan, thank you, brother. Appreciate you from north of the border. He says, as a Bengals fan, thank you guys for Eli Apple and BJ Hill. Both of them are bowling for my Bengals right now at 7-5. By the way, the Giants win a Super Bowl this decade. Well, I hope you're right about that. I didn't even know Eli Apple was still in the league.
He's actually been playing pretty decent for
you don't need to thank us. Thank the Saints. I think that's where he came from. So you don't need to thank us.
And as far as BJ Hill goes, when they made the trade, I was like, okay.
And didn't he go to Green Bay first? Oh, no, that was Goodson.
No,
that was BJ Goodson.
We got Billy Price from Cincinnati.
That was BJ Goodson I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, we needed an offensive lineman. But it goes back to not drafting an offensive lineman. Had you taken an offensive lineman in the 3rd or 4th round, even if you didn't take him in the first like I wanted, you wouldn't have had to make that trade. BJ Hill still would have been with the New York Giants. After you didn't address the offensive line in the draft, you were in desperation mode, so you had to give away BJ Hill.
Yeah, that's what stupid GMs do. But you're welcome. I'm rooting for your Bengals. I'm rooting because Dashy's a Bengals fan. He's always in my streams, and it's nice to see teams that haven't been good in a while be good. Hopefully that's us someday, but it's nice to see some teams turn it around. Jeffy, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Daniel Jones, Barkley, Kenny Galladay, Kadarius Toney, Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard nominated for the All-IR team. Well, Ingram's been healthy this year.
Ingram was healthy last year.
Ingram hasn't been bad this year.
I'm gonna say Evan Ingram last week, and we don't give him and rightfully so, we don't give him a lot of praise. Ingram actually played really well last week. It was probably his maybe not statistically speaking, but he made a couple of really nice catches. And he had the really good route where Glennon just completely missed him, where he burned the defender. It should have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
Ingram actually played a really good game last week.
Yeah, that's true. Comrade Dog, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Like your profile pic. I always love the little miniature dachshunds. Opinions on Barkley. Much love from thank you for watching from Scotland. My friend, don't know what time it is over there, but it's got to be early in the morning in Scotland. My thoughts on Barkley. I don't want him here anymore. Move on. Pretty simple.
He's not going to be here. I mean, he may be for another year, but he's not going to be here long term. And is it possible that Barkley regains his old form? Yeah, it's possible. I mean, when he had the injury, they said it could take 2 years with the ACL tear. But even if he does regain his old form, and I'm hoping, Saquon Barkley to me is an easy guy to root for.
Can't pay him.
Yeah, can't pay him. Seems like a great guy. And even if you hate Saquon Barkley and you want him off the team, you should be rooting for him to produce big time next year because it ups its trade value.
Absolutely.
So I'm rooting my ass off for him next year, and when he inevitably is probably not with the Giants, you gotta think reasonably as a fan. The next guy is gonna have no ties to Saquon Barkley. He's not gonna pay a running back big money, especially one that's had the injuries that he's had. So I'll be rooting for him wherever he goes. But yeah, I hope he regains his form next year. I think he can. But this year he just doesn't look like the same back coming off the injury.
You completely agree. He hasn't looked right, and since Eli left. And I mentioned that before. I feel like Eli made Barkley much more successful, much like I feel like he made Odell Beckham more successful. Brandon, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. To piggyback off the last one, he says, "What are the chances Barkley is gone after this year, and do we draft the running back?" Don't we draft a running back? Maybe later in the draft, but they did pick up Barkley's fifth-year option, so I think he'll be here next year to start. Depending on where we are next year, maybe he gets traded at the trade deadline, but I think he's coming back next year to start.
Yeah, I do too. Because you're not going to get anything for him right now. I know fans just trade him. I'm not trading Barkley for a 6th-round pick. I'd rather bring him back for another year and see if I get production that way. When you take a 6th-round pick, 9 times out of 10, they don't even stay on the team after 2 years. So I'll bring Barkley back for another year on the 5th-year option and see if he can regain his form, and maybe that helps his trade value. I think that's the smart decision. So we'll see. I think he'll be back next year.
I agree. RZA Jizza, Ghostface, Killer, Dirty Bass, Wu-Tang. Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate the super chat. He says, I know most fans can't stand judges' awful speeches and explanations for everything. Imagine being a player listening to them losing this much. I know.
It's the same thing with McAdoo was the same way.
Yeah.
I'm going to go look at the tape. And
Shermer, same thing. It must be grilled. That must be something. That must be their interview question. What do you say when you don't want to answer questions? I say I got to go look at the tape. You're hired. Maybe that's a John Merritt. Maybe that's a prerequisite. Always say you got to go look at the tape. Julian Love in the house. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. He says the only GM I'd want to keep is JJ is a man named Jury. The only GM I'd want to keep.
Joe Judge. I'm assuming JJ. I don't know.
Is a man named Jury.
I wish I knew what he was talking about. I love you, Julian Love, but I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I try that.
I absolutely love you, man. And I think you've actually done a good job this year. And you're actually one of Dave Gettleman's better picks.
That's right.
When I go up back and look at some of the older drafts, we got you in the 4th round. That was a pretty good pick by Gettleman. I absolutely love you, Love, but I don't know what the hell you mean by that.
Yeah, I am not sure. Tutto, grazie, paisano. Don't really matter who you bring in as a GM. Morna Mara will have his sticky, slimy fingertips all over it. It's true.
Well, if he does, that's a problem.
That's why we've had a problem. It's because he can't lay off. Kind of like when Jerry Jones was doing this, the Cowboys struggled. And Jerry Jones kind of backed off and let Steven do the drafting, and they got the offensive line, and now they're the Dallas Cowboys again.
Okay, so now I get judge, jury, both legal terms. So it was a play on words. Okay, Julian, now I got it. Now it went over my head, Julian.
So Ford, well, Nick, that's what Louis T asked me. He said 3. So Slade did get a touchdown. All right.
Yeah, I thought he did. So it's been 4.
I guess he did. I don't know. Pickle Yank, thank you so much at a $5. Boom. Appreciate that, my good man. And
Pickle
LA
Yank.
Roo, thank you.
Where do people come up with these names? Pickle Yank.
Pickle Yank. Let's look at that. What is it?
I'm gonna go yank the pickle. That's that. That's what I'm thinking about when I read.
I've had some good ones. Someone came in with the name into Laker stream last night named Itchy Balls, and that one made me.
I had a guy come into my stream the other day, Dirty Meatball. It sounded like a rusty trombone or something like that.
So there's definitely some good ones. There's no doubt. Yeah. LA Lou, thank you. Judge and jury guy. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. So that went over our head with that joke. Sorry about that.
Maybe we'll get some Faruqi in here to help the Giants. No doubt about that. Afghanistan says we got a gear 2 year. We got a gear 2 years worth of we were battling with stale Pat Shermer to now we've got to listen to. I got to go look at the tape. Yeah, I always love when Joe Judge says we did a lot of good things out there. I'm very pleased with what we did. What the hell are you pleased with?
Yeah, did you see Francesa's tweet?
No.
Oh, I'm gonna read it to you. It was hysterical. I was dying of laughter. As soon as he sent it. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up right now. It was actually a really good tweet by Francesa.
Johnny, they could, but it's highly unlikely. They have to win every game from here on out. That's not going to happen. They're going to lose this week. They're going to lose to Dallas. Probably going to lose to Philadelphia. Might be able to beat Chicago.
So here's Francesa's tweet. Giants lose 29. Can't find the end zone. And Joe Judge is, quote unquote, pleased at the podium. He looks and sounds like a babbling fool. That was Francesa's tweet about Joe Judge after the press conference.
Yeah, that sounds like Francesa. Babbling fool is correct. What do you think the video was?
Yeah.
Jeff Webster actually said that to me. Might have been my postgame video. He was like, you should do a Joe Judge like press conference. You should do that. And I was like, that's a really good idea. I will do that. So I went home and I just shot that from the hip. I didn't rehearse that or anything. I just recorded. I thought of some questions and recorded them on my phone, and I never played them back. I'm like, I'm just going to play them back and I'll answer them like I heard them for the first time. And that's what came out. The big one that everybody loved was what the hell did I say? Fundamentally, we execute. No, what did I say? Executionally, we fundamental.
Yeah.
And people freaking love that. Fundamentally, we executed, and executionally, we fundamental. I heard that back, and I started laughing. Like, why the hell did I even say that? Like, where the hell did that come from? But that's something Joe Judge would say. Why the hell not? Nandan, thank you, brother. Thoughts on Kenny Golladay? Disappointing.
Yeah. I'm going to read you Kenny Galladay's stats, Baddog. Kenny Golladay this year, I tweeted this out. Kenny Golladay this year got $72 million, $18 million a year.
And he has as many touchdowns as Chris and I do.
Yeah. So far this year, Kenny Golladay has 26 receptions, 409 yards, 0 touchdowns. He is getting paid $692,307 per catch and $44,009 per yard. So that's my thoughts on Kenny Golladay. And it's not mainly his fault, to be honest with you. I know he got hurt, but the offense that we run certainly doesn't help him. The fact that the offensive line can't block, there's reasons why he hasn't produced as much as we would like, but obviously some of it falls on him as well. But yeah, certainly wasn't a good signing.
Yes. Pickle Yank. It makes me laugh saying the name. But personally, thank you for the super chat, brother. I appreciate you. Personally, Glennon or from the start tomorrow. Would a look at Fromm be beneficial at this point? And is Glennon really safe this week behind this line? I'll let you start with that one, Chris.
I don't think it matters. I know fans want to see Fromm, and at this point, whatever, I guess show me Fromm, but I don't think it matters. I think they both suck, and I don't think we're going to win regardless who's out there. I have very little faith in Fromm, and maybe some people will be like, well, let's see. He's never played, and I'll tell you what, Baddog, if I felt like there's the only way I could ever see Fromm being a successful quarterback in the NFL as a starter, it'd have to be a situation like the Patriots. It would have to be a situation where you have a really good offensive line, you could run the ball, and you have a really strong defense. He's a limited quarterback. He doesn't have a good arm. He doesn't have mobility. If we had a really good line, I'd be like, you know what? Let's see. I'm excited to see the kid. Maybe he's got something. But with the team we currently have, Fromm doesn't have a chance, in my opinion. And maybe he'll prove me wrong. I think he'd fail miserably. And he doesn't have a grasp on the playbook yet. So I guess I'd rather see him than Glennon just because, Glennon is what he is. But I don't think Fromm's going to show you much.
Yeah, I don't think Fromm's the answer at quarterback. But honestly, you got nothing to lose by looking at him. You really don't. I mean, Glennon can't. We saw what Glennon does.
Yeah,
nothing. So I don't think it matters. Again, I don't think it matters if Mike Glennon or Fromm start. I think you're going to see the same struggles on offense that you've seen all year. We can't run the ball to save our life. We can't throw the ball down the field. We can't do diddly poo on offense. We sucked. I mean, where is a guy like Jim Moore? Like people say to me all the time, like, "Oh, what do you want Joe Judge to stay back? You want him to come out and bash the team?" Jim Moore, we sucked. We stunk. We sucked as coaches. We couldn't do anything. We couldn't do diddly poo on offense. That's what I want to hear. Yes.
Dennis Green
sucked. Say it. Say it. Come out and go, that was terrible. I'm embarrassed.
He ain't going to do that.
I know he's not, but that's the problem. You get a lot more respect if you came out and said, all right, listen, our offense has been embarrassing this year. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We haven't blocked well. We haven't passed well. We can't run the ball. We're not scoring enough. It's not good enough. I have to do better. The coaches, the players, we all have to do better. We stink. We stink on offense. Yeah. And it's got to be fixed. Just say that.
We all want to hear it, but he ain't gonna do that.
But why?
Because we know it ain't him. He's not a guy that throws players on the bus.
He don't want to take accountability. He wants to throw everybody else in about. Well, Mike Glennon took that time out, not me. I'm trying to back us up so we
didn't
can
actually say that, did he?
No, that was my press conference.
Oh, okay. I didn't think he actually said
that was me. That's what he said. I'm trying to back us up right there. I want to see how far we can go. 3rd and 32. I'd like to see how far we can run a draw on 3rd and 32. Obviously, we never get enough yards, but one of these days I want to get maybe a 3rd and 48, throw a little screen pass, see how many yards we can get back right there. So, but think about this. How the hell do you not get a play in on time? Because I think we mentioned this during the game. If you have a 50 or 60-yard play on the field and all your guys got to run to the ball and you run out of time, I understand. When you haven't moved the ball in the same set of downs, how in the hell do you get 2 delay games? Well, you don't get 2 delay games because, one, you took a timeout, but you would have had 2 delay games. How is that possible on the same set of downs? Not even on the same drive, on the same set of downs. How do you not get the play in 40 seconds? What the hell are you doing?
The headphones. It's the headphones. It's the headphones. That's what he's going to say. It's the headphones.
Yeah. Well, what can I say, man? I can't hear the play. I got to go look at the tape. Joe Judge, man. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. I speak only about good things that we do. I want to speak about any evil. I can't hear you, Chris. What? I got to go look at the tape. Idiot Joe Judge. He's a clown.
I couldn't believe it when he called the timeout. When we were watching the game, when I was calling the game, the timeout to me, because I even said, I think I remember saying after he called, because we weren't sure if he called the timeout. I'm like, okay, he took the penalty. Good. Like at that, it's 2nd and 23. What the hell are you doing? It's not like you've got Tom Brady at quarterback. You've got Mike Glennon at quarterback, and you waste one of your timeouts in the second.
2nd and 23 from your own 7.
Yeah, but if it's 2nd and 10, I still wouldn't prefer it, but it's more understandable because you have an opportunity to extend the drive and pick up you ain't picking up a first down at 2nd and 23 at your own 7. So just horrible timeout usage all year from Judge.
Terrible. Worse than Shermer. I never thought that was even possible.
I don't know if it's worse than Shermer.
What's that?
I don't know if it's worse than Shermer. Shermer was
it's right on par with that.
What did you say?
Remember when we were at the Jets game, he used all of his timeouts 5 minutes ago?
Timeouts before the 2-minute warning.
Well, 5 minutes ago, he did it.
Remember, didn't he have like a play in the season that year where he punted on like 4th and 2? I think it was against the Patriots when it was like a clear scenario where he should have went for it, and then he went for it later in the season on like 4th and 15.
Yeah.
Shermer had a lot of, but we forget. Shermer had a lot of.
Did have a lot of. Yeah, that's why I wanted him fired.
Yeah, he wasn't good.
But Joe Judge is so bad that it kind of makes you forget about Shermer. Oh God, it's like washing a bad taste out of your mouth with another bad taste.
Yeah,
what the hell's going on? Will, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. He says, keep Jones one more year, then draft Bryce Young.
That's easy to say. We're going to get the first pick.
Bryce Young may suck next year, too. You really don't know.
Yeah. And if he's going to go first, you ain't getting him unless you get the first pick.
It'll be tough. But yeah, I definitely want to address it. I'd rather address the quarterback situation in 2023 as opposed to this coming draft. But I get what you're saying. I mean, we'll see. There is always a guy that kind of moves up the boards during a college season. Bryce Young, obviously. I mean, look at Spencer Rattler. He was the favorite to win the Heisman. He ended up getting benched for a freshman in Oklahoma. Sam Howell had a terrible year at North Carolina. Those are the 2 Heisman favorites. They had terrible years. North Carolina was a huge letdown this year. And so you never know. Bryce Young may be bad next year. It happens. He may be great. We'll see. Brandon, thank you, brother. Appreciate you, my man. Thank you for the super chat. He says, Judge tries to play a tough guy role. Then a press conference day, he acts like the parent that thinks every kid deserves a trophy. Yeah. Participation trophy, Joe Judge.
Yeah, I mean, I think Judge is trying to set a culture, but he looks like a fool in doing it. There's times where fans want to hear. I know maybe you can't give like the full truth as a coach, but give him a little and don't bullshit. Don't be like, don't say
you're pleased with the performance when they kick 3 field goals, please.
Well, I think what makes it look even worse, Bad Dog, is when he said what he said about Nate Solder, right? He said that he's happy with the progress of Nate Solder. He's playing well. And then the offensive line coach, Rob Sale, gets asked the same question, and he's as blunt as can be.
Yeah.
He said Matt Parrott's not good. That's what he said. He said Matt Parrott is not a good offensive lineman at this point in time. That's what he basically said. So then when you hear the coaches underneath them are giving it to you straight, and you hear Joe Judge beating around the bush, I think that upsets fans a bit as well.
I like Rob Sale for that, taking accountability. And again, so how bad is his draft pick? And how do you go into the year knowing that Parrott isn't as good as Solder?
Well, I'm going to be as fair as I can. I don't think they knew that, but here's what I'm going to say.
But you must have known how bad he was last year.
But here's what I'm going to say. If they didn't know for a fact before the draft that Matt Parrott was better than Solder, they had no business taking a tackle.
Right.
Like,
well, guess who we get to watch this week? Rashawn Slater.
Yeah. And Justin Herbert, who we would have drafted in 2019.
Correct. Well, this ought to be fun. I mean, if nothing else, I was kind of hoping Fromm would start just so we had something interesting to watch.
Different. He may get a chance. Yeah, Mike Glennon, he could definitely throw a couple of picks. Maybe Fromm will get it. We'll get in there.
Well, he could. It's hard to throw an interception when you throw it out of bounds. You ain't gonna throw one out there. Jeffy, thank you, brother. I appreciate you, my man. He says Judge is better looking at the tape than coaching.
He's not that good at looking at the tape either.
I was gonna say, I don't know. I don't know what he sees on the tape, but nothing changes.
Nate Solder's still in there, so I don't know what tape he's looking at.
That is what's so frustrating to me, though, Chris, is that we're a bad team with a really bad offense. Why is there nothing different being done? Why don't you take some shots? And I'll tell you, Glennon threw the ball down the field. It was the only time he threw the ball down the field. And you had Saquon Barkley wide open on a 10-yard out towards the sideline. He was wide open, and Glennon decided to throw that ball in double coverage. Then he had Ingram beat his man, and then Glennon totally overthrew him by a mile. But nothing changes. Like, there's no...
We're not good.
No, I know, but God, do something different. Try something different. I don't know what the hell you got to do, but do something different. Something.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, if you ask me what I think our best chance to win this game, not that I think we're going to win at all, I would almost run exclusively Wildcat. I really would. We don't
have Kadarius Toney. We can't even do it.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, Toney might play. I think I heard that.
I thought he was out.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm getting it mixed up.
Shepard might play, I think.
Oh, maybe it was Shepard.
Who cares? They both stay. They're whatever. Shepard's gone. Q Logic says Linderbaum and Pickett have to be our first two picks, and most important because they touch the ball on every play on offense. Work your way out from there in the draft on the line. Right, you're supposed to work the inside out.
I didn't mean to cut you off. You're right. Tony's out. Galladay and Shepard are more than likely in.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I love Linderbaum, Q Logic, but again, I just do not want to take Kenny Pickett with a top 10 pick. There's no quarterback to me worth a top 10 pick. And listen, maybe there is to a team. Maybe there is to a team that's picking 19th or 20th. Maybe the Eagles wouldn't trade with us, but I'm trying to think of a team that might need a quarterback. I don't know what Kirk Cousins' deal is in Minnesota if they sneak into the playoffs. Maybe Carolina. Maybe Carolina wants quarterback. Maybe they sneak into the playoffs somehow, some way. It's still kind of wide open.
Pittsburgh.
The Falcons,
yeah.
Maybe I don't know what their picks are, but maybe they do. Maybe they trade up from 19 or 20 to 7 to get a quarterback, and we can get some.
Steelers make sense because he plays at Pitt.
Correct. So maybe that does. Maybe we're able to get the Steelers or something to trade up with us. But I don't want to take Pickett. I just don't want to take any quarterback top 10. The quarterback's not set up to succeed here yet. So I'd rather listen, it sucks to say this. I'm kind of already throwing 2022 away because I feel like we have to have the same team. We don't have any.
And then you're kind of throwing 2023 away because a rookie quarterback, you can't expect to come in and
right.
Regardless how good
That's why Gettleman did a poor job.
Yeah, and light the world on fire. But for me, it's about building this team the right way. And
That's right.
again, if they take a quarterback, I'm going to support him and hope the guy's great. But I would rather them shore up the offensive line.
I completely agree. Pete the Skeet, thank you for the super chat, brother. I really appreciate that, my man. Thank you so much. He says, I just want to say I love watching you and Chris, and I appreciate the content you guys are putting out. Hey, we appreciate you watching, Pete. We appreciate all you guys and girls watching. And again, we could never do this without you guys and girls. It's amazing. It is truly amazing. I say this all the time. Giants fans are unbelievable. I know my man Uncle Lou always says, he's like, when your team loses, you win. But I would like to win. I'd like my team to win. Again, I feel like people, obviously, for me, I know a lot of people like to watch me because I get pissed off, and I feel like a lot of people feel my frustration and they enjoy that. But I also feel like they would enjoy winning games. I want to know what it's like to feel. Now, listen, I was on YouTube years and years ago before it became what it is now. The sports community was extremely small. I mean, it's small anyway, but it was 50 people, if that. And there was no streaming. There was no play-by-plays. There really wasn't any analysis or anything. It was just kind of trash talk. Giants were good when I was here in 2008, 2009. That was fun. And they haven't been good since I came back. So I would like to win some games. But you guys and girls, the support is amazing that you're still here. We had 550 people in here tonight, and we have a bad football team. I've been saying it for 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is, Chris. Just think of how good it's going to be when we're good. Think of what it'll be like with it. We ain't there yet. Someday, please.
I can't wait, man. Because and Pete, man, I appreciate the kind words. That's a good name too, Pete the Skeet. But yeah, man, I dream of the day of being able to talk about it about this team when they're good, because I haven't gotten to experience that at all since I've been on YouTube. It's been the worst period to be a New York Giants fan since I've been watching the football team.
Like I said last year, we were 6-10, but the fact that we went down to the last game of making the playoffs, the excitement for a 6-10 team was awesome. That's as close as we've been to being successful, was the fact that our last game actually meant something. And the last game of the season meant something, even though we weren't involved in it. And the excitement of the fan base of a team that was 6-10 because we've been so bad for so, it was awesome. And I just think to myself, again, I love doing the show, and the fans are unbelievable. And I just think to myself, how much more fun would this be if we were talking about victories and how we were going to beat teams, and not talking about the draft before the season was over, and talking about, hey, we're going to play this team in the playoffs, we're going to play that team in the playoffs or whatever, and getting ready for a playoff game. Can you imagine what a playoff game would be like?
No, not like a legitimate one. Like last year, 6-10, sneaking in, but like actually having a good team and going into the playoffs, actually believing we have a chance, to do. No, I'm so far removed from that. I can't even remember what that feels like. So yeah, man, that it would blow me away to have a competitive football team again. And I just hope it happens sooner than later, man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know when the hell it's going to happen. You never know. Hopefully we blow it up and things change quickly. It's all we can hope for. But like I said, you guys and girls, you're unbelievable in your support for Chris and I. And I know I can speak for Chris. We truly appreciate it. This is why the Giants fan base, in my opinion, is the best, because every other team in this division has had its successes. Even though Washington has been great, they did make the playoffs. They did win the division. Dallas is a good team this year. Philadelphia won a Super Bowl a couple of years ago. And we've just kind of been toiling around the bottom for years now, and it kind of sucks. Like I said, I love doing that roundtable with those guys, but it would have been a lot of fun if I could have talked some trash and said, we're going to, like when we play Dallas in 2 weeks, just tell Law Nation, we're going to whoop your ass. You better not, you better take care, worry about Washington, and in 2 weeks, you're going to whoop your ass. It's over. You can do whatever you got to do to Washington. We're going to go to Los Angeles. We're going to beat them, and then we're going to come home. We're going to beat you. And there ain't nothing you can do about it. Like, I would love to say that, but I can't, because I'd be a damn fool if I thought that.
We're garbage.
Yeah. Basura.
We're garbage.
Orvin and Jagrom, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Can't believe the Jets had 4 quarterbacks looking better than DJ. I'm not going to go that far.
I mean, let's be real. I know Zach Wilson's starting to play better, but
I'm not
has he
going
looked better? Has he looked better than DJ this year? I mean, Zach Wilson, what has he got? He's got 6 touchdowns and 11 picks with a 66 QB rating. I'm not going that with a 58% completion percentage.
Yeah.
Get out of here with that.
Yeah. There's no
I like
doubt.
Zach Wilson. I think he could be a good quarterback. But Mike White in 4 games threw 8 picks. That's more than Jones has thrown all year, or at least the same amount. I mean, I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to let you.
Not going that far either.
Yeah, when it's not fair. I'm not going to let you do that.
Jeffy, thank you, brother. He says Hernandez just committed another holding penalty.
Yeah, man. Hernandez garbage, and you're going to see plenty of that tomorrow. I'm sure he's been completely disappointing for me this year, and he's disappointing for me every year. But even more so this year.
Look at my man Bobby in the house. Oh, Bobby. Bobby is one of my favorite Eagles guys. Yes, he trolls all the time.
He gets around. I see him in the Giants.
No, he was funny though. He one of my favorite Eagle trolls out now. But he says Baddog keeps it real coming from an Eagles. I do. I try to keep it as real as I can. Some Giants fans don't like that. You know, Authentic said this the other day in his stream, and I love this saying. I love this saying because this is exactly how I am. Facts over feelings. I don't care. I don't care if it hurts your feelings if I talk bad about the Giants. The Giants should be talked bad about. This is a team that's not just 4-8 this year, but has lost 54 of its last 76 games. That is awful. The only team worse is the Jets.
Yeah.
And the Lions are 0-10-1 this year, 1-10-1. Good call, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They did end up winning that game.
They did end up winning. I thought it was over. I didn't realize that the Lions had won that game.
Yeah. I had them winning last week. We're the worst team in football over the last 10 years. I said that on the stream.
Yeah, terrible.
Us and the Jets. I said that on the stream, and everybody said, no way. But you go back and look at it. Jets are the worst. We're the second worst. So we're right there with everybody else. As far as what Roldy said, yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not saying that Zach Wilson doesn't have more of an excuse than Jones, but I'm just saying this year.
He's not better than him, right?
Not better than Jones this year. I'm not saying
third year he very well could be.
He will be probably. But this year, like he said, I am not going to let him say that.
Well, he is a Jet. I mean,
the
Jets will jet.
You don't know what the Jets. You don't know what the Jets.
The Jets will jet. Chef Oz, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Listen, if nothing else happens for the Giants this year, can at least Chef Oz get the Caden Smith for first touchdown? Can we at least get the guy
tomorrow? Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Let's get it done for Chef tomorrow. Let's go.
Come on.
By the way, I didn't know this. I don't know if anybody in the chat knew this. DraftKings reached out to me, so I had a meeting with them this week. I'm not going to talk about that, but they told me, and Chef's super chat reminded me of it. Sports betting in New York is going to be definitely legal before the playoffs start in the NFL this year.
Wow.
Which I didn't hear anything about. I mean, maybe people in the chat heard about that, but that's what they told me. They said they know for a fact it's going to be legal before the playoffs start this year on the DraftKings app. Like, not the fantasy stuff, but like betting the spreads in New York. You're going to be able to do it.
I wonder if they can do it on my bookie because, again, my bookie sponsors my channel, and New York's one of the few states that you can't do it. So I wonder if that'll change for them as well. I'm not sure. Benjamin says, been following Baddog since 2019. Has it been that long, Benjamin? Must have been the Lakers stuff. And God, it's crazy. And Tainah since 2020. Love these dudes. Baddog keeps it real, allows KP slanders. While Chris is a Mets fan, I feel bad for him.
I feel bad for me for all the teams I root for. I'm a Giants, Mets, and Knicks fan.
Yeah. Yeah, at least I have the Yankees. At least I've seen success with the Yankees. That's one of the things about being older is I have seen success. I've seen the Giants win 4 Super Bowls. I think I told you this last week. I'm not sure. One of the best compliments I ever received. A guy was trying to slander me on Mark Holmes' video because he said because Mark Holmes responded to me whipping him a new one for that comparison. And the guy says, Baddog, he goes, Baddog's just salty because they didn't draft him. He doesn't even look like he's old enough to remember Lawrence Taylor. I was like, thank you. That made me feel really good because I am well old enough to remember Lawrence Taylor.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm almost 46, buddy. I remember Lawrence Taylor very well.
He looks like a fool to make that video. Period. End of story.
And then he did one saying comparing him to Reggie White. I mean, he runs out of things to say. He makes 15 videos a day. I went into his live stream the other day. He goes, "Are we cool, Ben?" I go, "Yeah, I'm like, Mark, I'm not mad at you. I disagreed with you on the take there." I don't like to take. I don't give a damn if Micah Parsons had 28 sacks in his rookie year. You don't compare him to Lawrence Taylor. Not yet. Not yet.
That would be like comparing Dontrell Willis when he had his first great year with the Marlins to Tom
Koufax.
Yeah, like Dontrell Willis had one great year, and what happened after that? Like, let this guy have like a period of
a career.
Yeah, give me a break, man.
I mean, they're also comparing Trayvon Diggs to Deion Sanders, so I mean that tells you where that fan base is. Moose up, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Odds Galladay finishes with 0 touchdowns.
Probably pretty good. Mike Glennon's throwing footballs right now.
Can you imagine signing a guy to a $72 million contract and him not having a touchdown?
I think it's going to happen.
Only on the Giants. Do we ever have a good receiver here? Have we ever signed a good receiver?
Yeah, we signed Burris.
Okay. All right. Burris. Okay.
Burris.
Yep. He was really good.
Cruz,
another one.
Signing, right?
Victor Cruz is an undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
We drafted him.
I'm trying to think of another free agent signing wide receiver off the top of my head.
That's what I'm thinking of. I forgot about Burris. Burris is a good one.
Yeah,
Burris cost, and then he cost us a dynasty with stupidity.
Yeah, Toomer, you had Hilliard. They were both drafted. You had
Knicks was drafted. Manningham was drafted.
Manningham was drafted. Odell was drafted. Marshall was a bust. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just Burris. I think it's Burris.
How bad is that?
Yeah,
we don't know wide receiver. What the hell?
Somebody said Tate. He was decent his first year, but definitely wasn't.
No, he wasn't good though. His first year, he got suspended the first 4 games for testing positive for them.
He's probably second. As sad as that is.
Wow. Holy Jesus. What is terrible? I can go back to getting Mark Jackson from Denver in the 90s. He was terrible too.
Some of our tight ends were pretty good signings. I guess Martellus Bennett for that 1 year was pretty good, and Ballard. I think we signed him. He was pretty good.
He was pretty good.
Yeah, but our wide receivers not so much.
No. Alvin, thank you, brother. I appreciate you, my man. Thank you for the super chat. He says, to be fair to Hernandez, he played next to Solder for 3 years, and he played next to a rookie.
Any switch positions this year. He moved from the left to the right side, but
yeah,
he ain't it. We ain't keeping him. I don't think so.
I don't think he's so either. Yeah. It's a shame because when we drafted him, I loved it.
Yeah,
I thought it was such a good pick.
Yeah,
it just didn't work.
I was going crazy when he was still on the board because everybody had him as a first round talent. And when
what's funny? You go back and watch the first video on my page, the oldest video on my page. I'm talking about trading Odell Beckham with my fat face in March of 2018. I look at that video, I laugh. I'm like, how was I that heavy at one point? I look at that video and I'm like, how the hell was I that heavy? And I didn't notice. But that's a poor diet will do because I still worked out back then. It was just poor diet. I mentioned getting Will Hernandez in the second round in that video. I talk about trading Beckham for 2 picks and getting Quentin Nelson, Sony Michel. I talk about Will Hernandez and who's it? Bradley Chubb. I think those are the guys that I talked about with the first 4 picks. But I mentioned Barkley, but I'm like, maybe they don't go Barkley. Maybe they decide they're going to take Sony Michel later in the draft. Now, Nick Chubb obviously was the guy that they should have went with in the second round, but that didn't happen that year. But I did say Will Hernandez in the second round was a possibility. And that's exactly
I'll tell you right now, I was happy with the later portion of that draft.
Very happy.
I was pumped up about the Hernandez pick. I absolutely loved the Carter pick. I was screaming for them to take Carter in the 3rd round. I wasn't on YouTube at the time, but I was very happy. I didn't like the Letta pick. Didn't see much there, but I really liked our first 3 rounds of that draft. Obviously, didn't work out, but on draft night, I was happy.
Yeah. Orphanage Ground, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. He says, I meant at one point in the season, Wilson 300 yards, 2 touchdowns versus Tennessee. Mike White had 405 yards, 3 touchdowns.
They had good individual games.
Flacco had 300 yards, 2 touchdowns versus Miami. Johnson had 315, 3 touchdowns versus Indy. Well, Jones had 400 yards and 2 touchdowns in a game winner against.
And should have had 4 touchdowns in that game.
Right.
They got
He did have a good game too.
He had a couple of good games.
The game against Washington, he played well. He should have had really big numbers against Washington, but we had a touchdown called back and a phantom holding call that took a 35-yard touchdown away from Daniel Jones on the run. And then he threw a perfect pass to Darius Slayton, and he didn't lay out. He didn't went off his fingertips, and he dropped it. That would have been a 45-yard touchdown. Jones could have had 345 yards, over 100 yards rushing, and 4 touchdowns or 5 touchdowns in that game. Well, let's not get it twisted. Jones ain't been good. I'm not trying to say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Jones to me is in the same. He's like Mayfield. I put him in the same class as like Mayfield, Jared Goff. If you put those guys in a good situation, they could be successful. But they're not going to overcome. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I know a lot of people think Jared Goff stinks, but Jared Goff, when he was with the Rams with McVay, he was an MVP candidate. He went to the Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo, in a good situation, he could succeed. But Jones is not proven to be above that, and that's what you need, in my opinion, to warrant getting that second contract.
No doubt. Sox, Arizona. Thank you, brother. Appreciate the super chat, my man. He says, my first Giants game ever tomorrow. Can't wait.
That's awesome, man.
I'll have fun. It's nice in Los Angeles, nice and warm. So coming here and watching them, it'll be a little bit more difficult in the middle of December, although it's warm here. I was telling Chris, I texted him. He said, what time's the show? I said 10 o'clock. And at the time, there was a storm ripping through here. There was raining sideways.
Yeah,
it's nice. It's raining out. This could have been snow. They would have sucked, but it was like in the low 50s up here. So that was nice. Otherwise, you would have had like a foot of snow. So I'm glad that was freaking rain.
And Sox, man, I hope you have an absolute blast at the game, man.
Definitely. I mean, have as much fun as you can. Knowing what you're going to watch. Sorry that at least Daniel Jones isn't playing and that you have to watch E.T. throw the ball out of bounds. E.T. phone home.
Yeah, watching Mike Glennon play definitely makes me miss Daniel Jones at least a little.
Elliot. Freaking Mike Glennon sucks. I put it on Twitter that one day. Go, well, you guys clamoring to watch Mike Glennon. You're going to get your opportunity. I don't think he impressed anybody. Here we go. Marco the Cream. Gano 4-4 tomorrow. Calling it now. Could see that. 27-12 Los Angeles. 20-12 Los Angeles.
I hope not. I hope he doesn't kick any field goals. I mean, we score 4 touchdowns. But yes, that's probably more realistic.
Scored 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, he's been the best fantasy kicker probably, over the last couple of years because we can't score touchdowns.
It's pretty good. You stink, Chris. I don't know what else to say. On that note, I think it's time we got here. It's we've been live for about 2 hours and 20 minutes. So again, guys, girls, listen, I really appreciate the crowd tonight. We like I said, we had like 550 people in here talking about a bad team and just a lot of problems. And obviously there's a lot of speculation as to what's going to go on in the offseason. Are we going to fire the GM? Was he going to bring in his own guys? What's going to go on? Are we going to draft? There's so much that's going to happen. I have a feeling Chris and I are going to have a busy offseason. Last year, we really didn't. It was pretty status quo. There wasn't really much to talk about, which is kind of what you want. You're hoping that your team is really good. Not that we were really good last year, but everybody was fresh.
No.
So you're hoping
there was a change last year.
Right. You're hoping that you have a quiet offseason because it means that things are going in the right direction. And when you have a busy offseason, obviously means you failed miserably, which we did again this year, unfortunately. The only thing I have to look forward to is trying to play spoiler to the teams in our division. We play the Eagles, Washington, and Dallas one more time. So if nothing else, I want to spoil whatever the hell they have going on. I would love to be able to knock one of them out of the playoffs. I would love to be able to knock, like Washington, we played them the last game of the season. I would love to knock them out of the playoffs. Unless I'm in Philadelphia getting in, and then I don't. Well, then again, I mean, Philadelphia would get a worse pick. I mean, Miami might make the playoffs. The Colts might make the playoffs. The Eagles might make the playoffs. Their 3 picks might be 20th or worse. I'm
going to tell you this, and I saw it, and I think I just saw Gary said, I want the Mannings to buy the Giants. That'd be a dream come true. Yeah. I'm with you on that, Gary. That'd be cool. But I saw somebody say this on Twitter. I forgot who it was. It might have been Carl Banks. I can't remember. Somebody said it. And he said, wouldn't it be poetic justice if the Giants tank the last game to allow Washington to get into the playoffs and the Eagles get kicked out because of it? That would be pretty funny. Not that I'm rooting for it, and not that the Giants will do that, but it would be funny if the Giants losing the last week got Washington in and kept Philadelphia out.
I'm going to say this, though, and I mentioned this on the roundtable. We better not do that. Because Joe Judge is pretty damn vocal. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. If they went out and did that there, that guy he already looks like a damn buffoon anyway. Can you imagine if this guy would think about it?
We don't need to do that.
I know, but just imagine him playing Jake Fromm.
Yeah.
Just imagine the game. Just imagine the game as a touchdown or whatever it was, 4-point game going in the fourth quarter. And like, you know what? I'm putting Fromm in there now. Hasn't played all year. Just come onto the team. I wanted to take a look at him going into next year. Better not do that.
To me, that's understandable though, because
I would think it would be funny, but he better not do that because then he's a hypocrite.
Yeah, I mean, if it was Jones, I definitely think he's a hypocrite. But with Glennon, who cares?
I mean, it really don't matter. You're right.
Yeah, at that point, I'd be like, it makes sense. See what you got with Fromm. But I don't think Judge will do that. But I think we're going to lose anyway. I don't think, and it'll be funny if by us losing it.
But I would much rather Washington in there than Philadelphia.
Yeah, which I'm going to tell
you.
By
the way, Gary had one of the.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, Gary had one of the best comments I've seen on my channel. He goes, he said, Joe Judge better figure out how to work a headset in the next 5 weeks before he starts working at McDonald's. I thought that was pretty good. Pretty good. Usually I pin really stupid troll comments. When I get really stupid comments, I'll pin a dumb comment, but that was hilarious. I'm like, I got to pin that one. That was pretty good. KP, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. Joe Judge sings right there. Look at the tape. Yeah, I got to look at the tape right there. What I'm trying to do right there is squeeze the water bottle with as little pressure as I possibly can. I got to get a new water bottle. When I first started recording that, the water bottle was full. I should have kept it. In there. And I got rid of it, and I was like, damn, why didn't I keep that? I squeezed the water bottle. I got it all over myself. I squeezed it. And it just spilled on me. And I'm like, I just spilled the water all over myself. And I'm like, I can't use that. And then I deleted it. And then I was like, damn it, that would have been a perfect segue to squeeze water all over myself. I don't know. It's a dumbass. Killian, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Hey, guys, you're going when I wake up. How's things? Yeah, Killian, it's bad timing because it's midnight over here and it's like 6 a.m. where you are. But things are as good as they can be in Giants land, I guess, right?
Probably not as good as they could be, but it's what we've come to expect. But Killian, man, thank you so much for popping in. Like Baddog was saying, we're gonna close this out, but hopefully, Killian, you swing by tomorrow.
Later game.
Yeah, and let's get a win tomorrow, hopefully. But obviously, we know it's not going to be easy going against the Chargers. Maybe the timing will throw them off. Playing at 10 a.m. their time, who knows? I'm just trying to think positive. It ain't going to happen. We're going to get our.
No, their timing's right. They're playing normal time. We fly over there. We play at 4. Yeah, we're going to Los Angeles. Yeah, we play at 4 o'clock. We're playing at 1.
I thought it was a 1
It's a 1 o'clock game over there. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what it was? I was talking to Sonor today in my Discord, and he said I hate playing 1 o'clock games, and I thought he meant New York time. So
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna get our asses kicked. I can't spin it any other way. But thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you guys for all the support. Thank you guys for watching the channel, and hopefully I'm pleasantly surprised tomorrow. Yeah, that's all you can do. Duncan, thank you for the super chat, brother. I appreciate you. He says least amount of booze they'll hear all year in that stadium. That's a fact. That is a fact. Yep. But yes, also in a couple of weeks we're gonna have nothing but Dallas fans in that stadium. That's coming. So just expect a large contingent of Cowboys fans in MetLife Stadium in 2 weeks because Giants fans are going to say, take my tickets, and I don't blame them one bit. But yes, we're going to get out of here. We will see you guys in about 16 hours, hopefully, for the Chargers and the Giants. And listen, no matter how good or bad it is, we hope that we can entertain you. And if nothing else, we can always laugh at ourselves because it has been pathetic. But again, I want to thank each and every one of you guys and girls for being here. You guys and girls are the best supporters and subscribers on YouTube. You're amazing. And thank you for the continued support. And hopefully we see you tomorrow. Get some sleep and go look at the tape if you get a chance. For the Entertaining Talk of Sports, Bad Diggity Dizzle. We gone. Peace.